were here in Lex last, and we went pissed during Ricochet's match, and somebody thought we were the Young Bucks, and I've never felt so insulted in all my life.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Leon seen CM Punk last time he was at Rupp Arena.
Yeah. He was just out there chilling in the foyer, and I was like, Punk? Like, he brought me to the side, thought he was going to beat my ass, I'm not even going to lie.
Like, don't you ever fucking mention me.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody. It's the Nice Guy Andy podcast, and I am your host tonight, Nice Guy Andy, and I am back from being off for a while. I had to go and pay some bills and do some work during Christmas. I work for the Big Brown Truck, and I'm here with my co-host, Superfly Johnny Lee.
What's up, what's up?
We got Sean Johns over there.
What up?
Leon Lexington's over here. And our special guest tonight is Doomsday Pro Wrestling Champion, Austin Diamond's in the house.
How's it going?
And you got the Hall of Famer, Scott Diamond, in the house.
In promotion of EWA's Scott Diamond's birthday bash, the 15th annual.
Guys, 15th annual birthday bash is going to be in Nicholasville, Kentucky this Friday night. Bell starts at, doors open at 6 p.m., you think?
Opens up at 6. The appreciation starts at 6:30. We've got a few people going to come in, and we're going to tell a few stories and things like that.
Okay, cool.
So it'll be fun. It's
we're looking forward to it. It's always a fun thing down there. We went to the last one that was in New York, Frankfurt.
Yep, that was in 2023.
That was fun. That was fun. That was a great show. It really was.
That's where you get the Scott Diamond scarf.
Oh, he did give me the scarf. The scarf's here somewhere. I don't think.
Yeah, it's inside there. Sean, you want to go get it?
No, I think did he give me that night? No, I wore it that night there. He gave it to me the night
beforehand.
Before. Yeah, you gave it to me before. I wore it that night to that show.
Yeah.
You
know, those scarves, there was many of them throughout the years.
Yeah.
And I gave very few of them away because they were representative of so many things over the years. So to get one of those, I don't want to see it on eBay.
No, it's here somewhere. We got your cane hanging up. We finally hung it up over the window there.
That's my prize.
You gave that to Johnny that night.
Yeah, I broke that over some poor sap.
Yeah.
He deserved it.
He deserved it.
Probably was talking smack, and you were like, "All right, bet."
Yeah, you don't want to talk smack when I got a cane in my hand. You might go home with a headache.
Yeah, somebody somebody remembers that.
So how you feeling about Austin Diamond finally having a match here in Kentucky?
I'm really excited for it. It's going to be his debut here in Kentucky. Excuse me. He's been wrestling a little while, in other states without commission, but with Kentucky having a commission, he had to wait until he was 18. Now he is more than 18. He's been 18 for about 6 months now. He's going to make his debut at the Scott Diamond Birthday Bash. He could have made it this past fall. He wanted to wait because the Scott Diamond Birthday Bash has always been a prestigious event, and he wanted to wait and make his debut in Kentucky at that event, kind of pay homage and to me, myself, and it's very important. It's very special to me, so I'm really looking forward to it. And he's going to be in there with some greats, Apollo Showtime Garvin, JB Thunder. Two guys that are multi-time
those guys
tag
are awesome.
team champions.
Let
me tell you,
awesome.
They know what they're doing. These two brothers, they have wrestled together for so long. They don't have to speak. They know what each other's thinking the entire time. So it's going to be an uphill climb for Adrian Alexander and Austin Diamond. But the difference, and I've always said this, as great as HNIC are, the difference is Scott Diamond's going to be on the outside of the ring for Adrian Alexander and Austin Diamond. The House of Diamonds were successful in West Virginia. Adrian Alexander and Austin tagged together before. And, again, the difference being Scott Diamond's on the outside, so my money, as great as HNIC are, my money is going to be on House of Diamonds.
Same.
Heck yeah, our money is going to be on House of Diamonds too, because I like those other guys, and you're gonna learn a lot by being in the ring with those guys. So just learn from them, beat them, pin them, and then that's just another
they don't know what's
great
coming.
Look at Austin Diamond.
Absolutely, I'm undefeated, and nobody should expect that to change anytime soon. I'm
Plus,
absolute. Absolutely. It speaks for itself. That right there tells you that I am everything I've ever claimed to be and then some. So again, I'm more than happy to step in the ring with these guys.
I wish we would have been able to be there, man. Like me and Johnny were talking about coming to that night when you had your match up there, and you came home with the belt. I was like, oh my God, we should have went, Johnny. We should have went.
There will be more ass kicked in the future.
Oh, we'll definitely be there. We're definitely going to be there for your match with Simply Rick.
Yeah, actually, we were at another program, and Simply Rick had done Rick Gunner, if you will, had done this program without us. And of course, I always I do my homework. So if we've got somebody that Austin's working and he's got a match coming up against or something like that, or I always had the Diamond Cartel was going to wrestle somebody, I do my homework. I study those people and see what their weaknesses are. And then we capitalize on it. And so I was watching this other podcast that Rick Gunner was on, and I was really kind of flabbergasted that he called out myself. He was kind of upset with the Diamond Cartel, but he said the person that I really want to get into the ring is Scott Diamond because I know he's the head of the snake, and if I can take him out, then the rest of the Diamond Cartel will follow. So I was really kind of flabbergasted that he wanted me to come out of retirement. But, I've never backed up from a fight. I'm not backing up from this fight. Rick Gunner wants it. He's going to get it. But as the Pope said, be careful what you wish for because it's not always what you want.
Exactly.
You got a lot of friends that are very, very,
Well, and he talks about being in the ring with Dutch Mantel and this, that, and the other. And I'm not going to take anything away from Rick Gunner. He's been in the ring with some of the greatest that ever graced the squared circle.
Yeah.
But the difference is this. First of all, I'm a United States Marine, so I'm the deadliest thing on the face of this planet.
Exactly.
My mindset is higher than almost anybody out there. And I've been in the wrestling business for a very long time. I've won over 200 championships via either being a wrestler or a manager. And either way, even being a manager, there's a lot that goes into that. You have to be a very good tactician in order to beat some of these great teams. And that's the one thing that I think that Rick Gunner forgot when he called me out. I've proven myself time in and time out, and this is not going to be any different. I'm looking at about 230 pounds to about his 140 pounds. I was on the ground floor of fighting terrorists.
Size matters, guys.
And I'm telling you, that's what she said, That's what she said. And I am going to rock his world, and it's going to be the worst thing that he ever asked for because once he gets it, he's going to realize he messed up.
What's he thinking? What's he thinking?
He couldn't have been thinking, Andy.
He was thinking with his anger, wasn't he?
He was thinking with his anger. His anger got the best of him.
Yeah.
He was on that program. He wanted to spout out.
He wants you because he know he can't beat the young man.
Hey, man, had he thought twice, it'd be two more thoughts than he had all day.
He can't beat you. He knows he can't beat you, so he thinks he wants to pop him.
After what Adrian and I did to him, the cat hasn't had a thought since.
Yeah.
How he's still walking after what Adrian did to him, I will never know. I put the boots to him. Adrian followed suit. JR Rock, Tank, Pops. We have shown everybody that Doomsday Pro Wrestling is at our mercy. But, as Levi Motionless found, we have no mercy.
We have no mercy.
That's right. And you know what? Rick Gunner was crying as soon as that elbow hit the back of his head.
Oh, Tank was up there too?
Tank was up there too.
Oh, Tank
and
AJ Rock. JR Rock.
Frank the Tank has been the enforcer for the Diamond Cartel for the last 15 years. Yeah. And when you step into the ring with a 500-pound guy that is as agile as Frank the Tank. I mean, I haven't seen a big guy as agile as him since Bam Bam Bigelow or Ernie the Cat Lad.
Is he going to be at the Bash?
He will be there.
Oh, Frank's going to be there.
You better watch out.
He will be there, and let me tell you, he'll be cleaning house. This year, because it's the 15th one, I generally put up $1,000 of my own money.
Yes, you do.
This year, because it's the 15th one, I'm going to put up $1,500.
Wow.
And I'm telling you this.
Johnny, we need to get in this battle royal.
With Adrian Alexander being in there, with Austin Diamond being in there, with Frank the Tank being in there, and Scott Diamond again on the outside, I have no doubt that we are going to write a check. I'm going to write a check, and the three or the four of us, if you will, counting myself, we are going to spend that check.
So it's is it going to be is there a limit? Is it going to be like a 20-man battle royal or 30 or whoever shows up?
Over the years, we've always done a 12-person battle royal, and 12. I say person because Amazing Maria has been, in the battle royal. She's the matriarch of the Diamond Cartel. She's going to be there this year too.
She's going to be down there, really?
She will be there too.
Wow. So
you never know what the hell's going to happen with her, because she's off the chain too. She's one bad broad, man. Let me tell you, I've seen her.
And wherever she is, her husband's going to be there.
Max is going to be there.
Oh wow. Okay. You're bringing out the big names.
Look.
That's right. Austin Diamond's going to be there.
Of course.
Right.
We already know you're going to be there.
It's going to be a Diamond Cartel night. You can't have the Scott Diamond birthday bash without the Cartel being there. Great shirt. I love the
Cartel
shirt.
on. I've ordered this off of myself.
You know what you
Hell
got to
yeah.
do? You
Ordered it
gotta
off
make a shirt
the
from
Nice
Scott.
Guy Andy podcast website. So go out there and order your Diamond Cartel CEO Scott Diamond off the Andy.
Yeah, if y'all guys want one of these
podcast.
shirts, let me know. We can figure out a way to
Sean
get you
John,
one.
yeah, Sean John's over there. He's got his own T-shirt. Order that off of the Nice Guy Andy podcast. They got some great shirts. Go over there
Order
to their
5.
merchandise. But Frank has always been the enforcer. So if Maria's going to be there, Adrian Alexander's going to be there. Austin's going to be there. My money is going to be spent by the Diamond Cartel. I'm going to write that check, but at the end of the evening, I have no doubt with those guys in there, they're going to throw everybody else out. Then we're just going to call it a night. We're going to split that $1,500, and we're all going to go out.
It's gonna be a long night at the strip club.
Hell
You
yeah.
already know,
Hell
man.
yeah.
It's going to be.
The baby's legal now, boys.
It's
That's
going to
right.
be raining, Big Daddy. It's going to be raining.
Teeny boppers no more.
You got to take him to the donkey show next.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, Johnny, no!
The
Don't
donkey
mention the donkey.
We're taking
I love
this
it.
party
I love
straight
it.
to Tijuana, Daddy, because I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down.
Right on, right on.
That's right.
If you haven't seen it, I highly
And
recommend
grab
to
me
go
a
see
water
it.
while you're there.
That's right.
Get me an L. LA too, please.
But
Yeah.
it's going to be
LA2,
a very
no,
auspicious
LA1.
evening. I really think, Andy.
I knew what I'm. Okay.
Again,
Fair enough.
$1,500
No,
goes
it's
to
going
the
to be
winner.
a party. It's going to be a party.
Uh,
That's why we're coming, because we know it's going to be a party. We're going to be
boss.
down there.
Plus, I wouldn't miss Austin Diamond's first time.
Oh, I
in
gotta
person.
watch.
Yeah,
I gotta watch. I've seen this guy
anything.
announce. I've seen this kid announce when he was a young man, and I definitely been waiting to see you wrestle.
And we've had you both on here the very first time having father and son together.
Oh,
Yeah,
This is a full
Yeah.
circle moment.
it certainly is. It really is, Johnny. Anytime that I can do something with Austin, it's auspicious to me. I'm glad to see that he's carrying on the legacy. And I'm going to put right out there that the 2025, the only reason that I renewed is because of Austin. I want to see him get his career started here in Kentucky. So after 2025, he will be on his own with Frank and JR Rock, and I'm going to step back and let them do that. It's time for him to stop being Scott Diamond's son and become Austin Diamond. Because he's a young man on his own. He's been always making his own bones from day one. And I think when he comes out at the Diamond Bash, everybody is going to see that. He's going to come into his own. He's going to show them what he's capable of. And he's going to show them why he's going to take the Cartel and carry that legacy on, the Diamond name on, into the next generation.
Oh, definitely.
Exactly.
With bringing the show home, I've been everywhere. I've done it all now. I've been through St. Louis and Oklahoma. I've been West Virginia, Tennessee, the Ohio, really just about anywhere, the Carolinas, Georgia. You can't name a spot that we haven't been through.
Yeah.
But no longer is this about just carrying on a legacy like he was saying. This is about Austin Diamond. He's had his time in the sun, and no disrespect to you, but it's my time. And
Right on.
with that being said, again, it's no longer about filling his shoes. This is about blazing my own trail. And everybody's going to stand back in awe because they have no other option. And if they don't like it, there's only about two things they can do with it, and that's nothing and deal with it. The clock runs on my time. I am the Doomsday Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Champion because I am the baddest man on the independent scene today. Austin Diamond is here not to carry the Diamond legacy. Oh, no. Austin Diamond is here to carry the business on his back, Daddy. Austin Diamond is everything that you have ever wanted to be and then some. And all you got to do now is sit back and watch.
That's right.
Sean, did you see my shirt?
I did. I saw it.
Yeah. Diamond Cartel, the CEO Scott Diamond shirt.
Order it
John
on the Nice
Steven.
Guy Andy podcast website. Contact them. Get your shirts.
Yeah.
That's right. Cash
All
at me
those.
$65 and I'll make Andy make you a
That's
shirt.
right. See, that's a smart businessman right there.
You start selling
John
shirts for
Steven.
$65. We can do some business.
Diamond Deluxe 06 on
John
Cash App.
Stevens says, any chance we can see the Nice Guy Andy podcast crew in the birthday battle royal Friday? Hey, never say
Well-
never in this business.
Well, as I was saying to Andy earlier, generally we opened it up to 12 persons. This year, because it's the last one, it's an end of an era. So I opened it up to anybody that has a Kentucky wrestling license is capable of getting into the Scott Diamond Birthday Battle Royal. And I mean, anybody's got a shot at that $1,500. But again, with Frank the Tank in there, Austin and Adrian Alexander, my money, the Cartel is going to bring that $1,500, and then we're going down to the strip club and make it rain.
That's right.
Hell
Came up with
yeah.
the idea. Do I get to go?
Hey, if you get a license, Leon, bring it, man. Bring it on. You can get in the
Throw
battle
myself
royal.
over the top
If-
rope at the end and
if-
let all four of
if-
y'all win.
If you don't win the battle royal and you want to go out and party with us, you all are welcome to come party with us. We're going to line out. We're going to line it out just like the Horsemen used to line out the Ramada Inn, you know.
That's
We're
right.
going to be lining it out. There's going to be a packed house, not only at the bash, but there's going to be a line like a funeral procession behind us for that party later on that night.
That's a prestigious night too because it's your night. The
Um,
whole thing is all about Scott Diamond's birthday.
You know, it's very prestigious. I'm very grateful. You know, the Scott Diamond Birthday Bash originally was not my ideal.
Yep.
It was Black Rain, a.k.a. Jeff Waldridge's idea. And that first year, we packed it out, standing room only, and we've been doing it every year since. So, you know, I was very grateful that he had started it, and it was over so well that we just continued it on. But this year, in fact, will be the last one. And so come on out, because it's certainly going to be a party. You know, it'll be my 60th birthday. So that's a milestone in itself.
Exactly.
And we're going to go out there and we're going to have one hell of a time. The champagne will be flowing. Everybody will be having a good time. We'll be throwing around money like it's nothing.
We're taking bets on who gets a cake in the face.
That's happened in the past, you know, and I don't care because I like cake.
That's right. Cake is
You know?
good.
Yeah, I mean, if you got cake, bring it.
And as they say, this would be the end of an era because Scott Diamond Birthday Bash is now on its 15th annual birthday bash.
It will be the 15th, and I'm, like I said, I'll be turning 60, and so it's just a good time to pull the plug.
So next year we're
That's
getting the
true.
Austin Diamond birthday bash. The
So
first.
next year,
That should
yeah,
be the new one.
next year we'll have to start doing the Austin Diamond Birthday Bash, yeah.
In addition to that, in place of or in addition to admission, I invite anybody and everybody to bring any leftover champagne from New Year's with them.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, we like our champagne, so bring
Looks
it.
like Carson Drake's going to be there from NWA.
Carson Drake
Yep.
is. Look, I've said this before. The Scott Diamond Birthday Bash always brings you the best that wrestling has to offer. You know, we bring people from all over the country. And
I'm
this
looking.
year,
I'm looking forward to this match. This Chris Michaels versus Omega match.
hey, look, it's going to be great. You know, Omega is a great up-and-coming star, but Chris Michaels is a crusty veteran. He's very good at what he does. He's been around a long time, and he's one bad dude. So to see Chris Michaels and Omega, that's one match that I'm going to be sitting and watching myself. And again, we were talking about Carson Drake. He's bringing, you know, the title that Tully held, that Arn held, the NWA World Television title.
Exactly.
It's truly a world title. It's a world championship, and it will be defended at the Scott Diamond Birthday Bash.
And what about Jordan Cage finally facing Ethan Hire? Last time we saw them together, he left Ethan Hire bleeding from the mouth.
You know, I've been around the block with Jordan Cage. You know, he's a crafty veteran as well, just like Chris Michaels. And he's got Bobby Blade in his ear. You know, Jordan Cage has got Bobby Blade in his ear. When you put those two guys together,
Oh my God, it's a crazy duo right there together. Like
I'm telling you, my money,
Jordan-
Ethan Hire, as good as he is,
Yeah.
Jordan Cage is going to come home
he has no.
with that Heritage
He
Championship.
has no
That's
chance.
right.
He has no chance. Ethan Page. I mean, Ethan Hire has no chance against.
Hey,
Yeah.
or Ethan Hire, he takes things higher. He's a giant.
He has no-
He's
he-
a giant. He's
The kid's got great energy.
He's
You
got
know,
great
very
energy.
athletic.
It's Jordan Cage.
But-
he was New South Wrestling Pro. He was New South Wrestling's champion.
He
Okay.
was.
He beat Larry D. Right in the. Right
I
in
know.
the
I
ring.
was there that night.
Picture perfect. Jordan Cage
Yes.
is a good wrestler.
And he's got Bobby
going-
Blade, legendary Bobby Blade in his.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Oh, he does.
But Ethan Hire, remember, he helped take down the Ben Sheeran brand
It's true.
with the help of Scott Diamond.
with the help
Exactly.
of Scott Diamond. So
Exactly.
Ethan
Had Scott
Hire is a
Diamond
smart
to come
guy.
in.
Ethan's got his
So-
finger right on the pulse of what the people want, and with that energy
Yeah.
behind you, you just can't lose.
And if he's smart enough, he'll bring you in to be his manager.
You know, I would have to step back from that because, you know, I've been friends with Jordan Cage for a long time, and I've been friends
That's
with Bobby Blade,
understandable.
of course, for a long time. And so, again, I think Ethan Heyer has great energy, great athlete, but I think he's kind of in over his head on this.
He's
one.
very in over his head. Jordan
Yeah.
Cage is a legend, you know, in the sport, like in Kentucky wrestling. And he has a Bobby Blade in his corner. There's no way Heyer's going to win that match.
Exactly, because Jordan
You'd
Cage
be
is picture
surprised.
perfect.
Well, I'll be surprised if it happens, but I don't think that's going. There's no way.
What is
As-
Scott Diamond's favorite kind of cake?
That's what Ryan Mosley wants to know, or Ryan Mo from the Final Count.
My favorite kind of
Latino.
cake is cake with icing.
And DJ Hootie Hoo said,
The cake
Scott's
that jiggles
is
when you
favorite
give it a
pie.
$5 bill.
he said you
Yeah.
love pie.
I do love pie. You know, DJ, what good to hear from you, man. You know, I'm a baker and I bake a mean apple pie, so I do love pie and I love cake. Like I said, any cake with icing, I'm there.
That's right, because, man, you can't go wrong for perfect pie.
You cannot.
But, you know, Jordan Cage, as we were talking about, I don't think that even Higher has a chance because Jordan Cage, he is a veteran now. He has grown and he has studied, he has learned, and he'll do whatever it takes to get the win, to get that championship and become your new Heritage Champion. I don't think that Jordan Cage is going to let the fact that even Higher's young and hungry get to him because he's got Bobby Blaze on his corner. That's a
There's
deciding
no
factor.
substitution for experience.
Exactly.
Jordan Cage not only has his in-ring experience, he has Bobby Blade's in-ring experience and managerial skills. I just don't see any way that Ethan Heyer can win this. You know, he's a good kid, great energy. He's been around for about 2 years now, and he's had an outstanding year.
I think Austin's got him in his pocket over there. You got him in your pocket over there? He hangs out in your pocket sometimes.
I mean,
You know, I did recall that from the last show, but I think I'm all alone right now.
He's such a big guy. I mean,
He is. That guy is truly an industry
Reminds me of the
giant.
land of the Giants, right?
I know he's huge.
yeah, he's supposed to be 7 foot tall, 800 pounds, but every opponent that he's fought seems to tower over him like they're 7 foot tall.
Yeah, he's kind of, you know, we've not seen a guy like him since Crash Holly.
That's true.
But, again, I could talk about Ethan Heyer all day long because he is a great athlete. But you cannot take away the experience of Jordan Cage. And when you...
Jordan's great in the ring. He in the ring, he is incredible in the ring.
He is great, and he and Bobby Blade together are unstoppable.
That's a team made in heaven.
Look, I can sit and tell you they've worked together for years, Bobby Manage and Jordan Cage, and I really can't think of one match that they ever lost.
Exactly.
I really can't.
Exactly. And you know, Carson Drake is going to be taking on Justin Xavier, another guy who you got to keep an eye on because that guy, he likes to high fly. And he's starting
Justin
to get
Xavier?
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, Justin Xavier.
It's going to, you know, they're all main event matches. You know, we talked about Chris Michaels and Omega. You're talking about Carson Drake. And, I mean, all these matches are main event matches. You know, we've always brought the best, as I've said, to the Diamond Bash. It's the show of the year. It's the event of the year. And so we bring the best that wrestling has to offer to the fans. And you tell me one match, you got all the matches right there.
Yep.
You tell me one match on that card that is not a main event match.
Let's talk about this Chris Michaels and Omega again. These guys, Omega's one of the hard-hitting young guys come up. We go everywhere and we see Omega everywhere. We seen him up at Paradigm.
Yep.
Oh my God, they were
That was a hard
Killing-
match.
up there. We've seen him at Grindhouse. We've seen him at EWA.
It's hard to miss him.
Oh my God, he is.
Yeah.
He is such a powerhouse. He is incredible, and he's got such energy. But Chris Michaels he's a legend in this sport right now,
He certainly is.
and that guy is so intense. I've seen him before. I talked to him at AMW last.
We also shared the
last
locker room
month.
with him.
Yeah, we shared the locker room with him a little bit. I seen him at AEW last month, and I was trying to joke with this guy, and he's
He's
just
all business, man.
all business.
He's all
like
business.
he was like looking at me like, dude, do you not know who I am? I will just like crush you. Like,
Yeah.
and when he got in that ring, He fought.
Lord Murphy Costigan.
That was an incredible match. Every match I've ever seen Chris Michaels in, he's just so intense, and he just gives it 1,000%.
I got to see him get
that
told.
match. That match right there, Omega versus Chris Michaels is
That's gonna be a killer.
man.
And you know, I just got one thing to say on this one. I can't pick a winner here because Chris Michaels is a great wrestler and he is a legend in this business. But when you think about Omega, there's one match to me that comes to mind. He beat Vic the Bruiser for the KEPW Heavyweight Championship.
The Clash of the Titans.
And let me tell you, Vic the Bruiser is not a walk in the park.
No,
Exactly.
And Omega has a victory over Vic the Bruiser. And if he can pull out a victory over Vic the Bruiser, Omega, if it's his night, he can pull out a victory.
That match
over
could go
anyone.
anywhere. That match could turn into. I don't even know if those guys even like each other or whatever, but that match could turn into a grudge match easy because both of those guys are very intense.
You'll be lucky if the building is able to contain that, much less the ring.
Also, there's at stake. Omega's on the road to try to get to the EWA Championship. If he gets knocked off, Chris Michaels could cement himself into becoming the guy that's going to go after that title. That's a lot at stake.
Because I believe this match is for the number one contendership, to go up against Clayton Cannon for his EWA Championship. And again, I could sit here and say, yeah, I think Chris Michaels will win because he's great at what he does and he's got a hell of a track record.
Yep.
But again, when you think about somebody who's young and hungry, there's nobody out there more hungry than Omega.
Exactly.
And so this match could go either way. It could go either way.
And then we got Steel Wool versus Zachary Dion. That's another match that's going to be hard hitting.
And there's another one. Steel Wool has been around a long time. He started out in tag team wrestling, but he's been around a long time. So he's got the edge because he's the veteran here.
It's funny you would say the edge because I think that goes to the cut man Zachary Don.
It's
Zach,
possible.
I can't speak on how long he's been around. I'm not overly familiar with him, but from what I've seen of him at Elite Wrestling Alliance, let me tell you, he's got all the potential in the world. That guy has the true makings of a star.
Oh, he does.
Potential doesn't buy the groceries.
They're totally two different wrestlers. I think Zachary's a high flyer.
Two
and
different
then
styles for sure.
Styles, and then Steel Wool is just like a get in there and just beat you down kind of guy. He is just tough as nails, just a powerhouse.
And that's a different clash of styles that just meshes well together. So we're going to find out who's got the better edge during this match. Will it be Zachary Don or will it be Steel Wool?
Again, there's not a match on the card that I don't think would be a main event match anywhere.
So I've only been able to find those. Is there any matches that we don't know about? Because I looked on the website and I don't think there's any.
We definitely have to shine a little more on Justin Xavier and Carson Drake. This is a story that's as old as time now. These two cats were tag team brethren up at Ascend Pro Wrestling out of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah.
And, man, they were great. They were the best of friends, some of the best tag team action that the world had ever seen at the time. And Carson Drake outgrew Justin Xavier.
Yeah.
Carson Drake turned his back on him, pummeled him all over the Ascend Pro Wrestling Rise Championship. Carson Drake then went on to be the longest reigning Rise champion that the company had ever seen. Justin Xavier has grown a lot since then, though. He went down to the Nightmare Factory, trained with Cody Rhodes. He's done a lot. He's been tagging with Party Mike, Arcade Hangover, tag team champions, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
They have both come a long way. Carson, of course, now the NWA World's Television Champion. So to see these guys again, 3-4 years later, back at it, this could go either way.
And Carson Drake spent some time up at OVW learning from Al Snow and them guys up there too. So
here's the big thing that you got to think about. As Austin said, these guys were tag team partners, so they know each other. So before Carson can do something, these guys know each other so well, they'll be able to counter each other's moves. And what's going to make the difference is the first one to make a mistake, the other one's going to be able to capitalize on.
And Chris
because
Crow
again,
said,
they
"What's
know
up?"
each other so much. Chris Crow, there's another one. I got nothing but great things to say about this kid. He's going to go far.
is he having a match too?
Oh, he should have matched because
I don't believe he'll be there that night.
Oh man.
We had him in the studio here a while back. He came in on a special day on a Sunday. We had an early show. What a star Chris Crow is.
And my favorite thing from him was they said if he's going to go out there and he's throwing punches, they're not going to be worked. They're going to be snubbed.
Look, and I'm telling you, there's a few guys in the top 5 that I say this about, and he is one of them. 2025 is going to be his year. It's going to be his year. He is a hell of an athlete, and I'm telling you, you guys have seen him. I've seen him since he came into this business. He is a tough, tough competitor, and anybody that gets into the ring with Chris Crow, they're going to have their work cut out for him.
They will be sure to remember him. You know, he too, it's another one. It's his time. For far too long, he was rated as just a tag team guy along with Sean Hoodrich.
Yep.
But he showed everybody when he beat Sean Hoodrich down, when he beat down the Zodiac, he showed everybody that this is his time. He too was tired of being in a shadow, tired of being stuck in a rut, looking to fill shoes. And here he is, beating down great names all over the state. Not all over the state, all over the country. Chris Crow does everything effortlessly, and that's why he's going to go as far as he will.
He can go as far as he wants because he, as he said, it's effortless. He makes it look so easy. He's such a fluid wrestler that it's like, what can this cat not do?
And his personality is incredible too. He's got that personality. He's coming in on his own with the creativity, with talking, and like just a great guy.
Well, the thing is, whatever he says, he can back up.
Oh yeah, he's backing
he can back it up.
Like he proved that against Zodiac. Zodiac thought that he's going to come in there, take this kid out. What happened? He suffered the exact same fate that everyone else before him had suffered.
You know, Zodiac is a great wrestler, but I think, as you were saying, he took him lightly.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
Zodiac's beat so many legends and so many people.
he's a great wrestler.
That I think that he's overlooking some of these younger cats, man.
I think he got a little overconfident, and he paid for that.
Yeah.
Yep. He got to suffer what everyone else has suffered. That damn spear, that spear that Chris Crow hits.
Oh, he'll
There's
crack your
nothing more
ribs,
perfect.
man.
It's like being hit with a Mack truck.
Exactly.
There's nothing that compares to that.
Zodiac's been down there taking hits from Stan Sierra and freaking Cal Maggard for years. Like his head's has got to be warped. His mind has got to be warped. He's got to have thousands of concussions.
You know
being down
who
there
else?
fighting those guys?
You know who else suffered that spear? Morgan James, because she decided to clear herself right in front of him.
Put her ass completely out of the business.
Should have known.
Yeah.
That
She hasn't been back.
She hasn't been back.
Yeah.
Because he speared her so hard that Adrian and them, they're like, yeah, she's dead.
I
Blake.
talked to her. She's still having trouble breathing, and that was over 6 months ago.
Yeah.
That's how powerful that
I would
spear
say he
is.
probably broke a couple of her ribs because she was not a real big gal in the
No,
first
she's
place.
tiny anyway.
And she's lucky that he didn't break her back. I mean, quite honestly.
Yeah.
That spear was devastating. When he hit it, it sounded like a shotgun.
You'd have thought that he had went straight through her, honestly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nobody's seen her since. She may have.
Right.
You have talked to her though, right?
I have talked to her,
so
I
she's
think.
still alive. So.
But we got Austin Diamond and Adrian going out there. HNIC.
Yeah. Hot nachos and cheese. I mean,
Yeah.
And
These-
not to mention, they said that this may be the last time that they wrestle here in Kentucky.
I'm going to put it right out there. Apollo Showtime Garvin said that this will be he and JB's last match ever in the state of Kentucky. So, you know, again, Apollo's only wrestled on our side one time over the years because he said, my favorite line by Apollo, you know, I tried to get him to join the cartel so many times over the years.
Yeah.
And he just wouldn't do it. You know, he just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
He filled in with us one time at a bash, but he would not join the cartel. You know, he said he's a proud black man, but he would join the Klan before he would join the cartel.
Oh, wow.
So that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
But look, all the respect in the world for him and JB. Again, multiple time tag team champions.
Those guys are incredible in the ring.
They
Their
know
chemistry
each other.
is-
Their
their
chemistry is unbelievable. I mean, again, to me, when I look at them, I see the original Minnesota Wrecking Crew because they
too.
know what each other's thinking at all times.
Ricky and Robert.
Ricky and Robert, I mean, the Steiners, the Road Warriors, they go right into that same class because these guys know exactly what each other's thinking at all times. At all times. And they've proven it by the multi times that they have held championship gold. And so this will be their last match in Kentucky.
That's an
ever.
honor too, because that
It's an honor for them to do that at my event. And with that being their last time that they're going to wrestle in the state of Kentucky, these guys are going to bring everything, including the kitchen sink. So Adrian Alexander and Austin Diamond is going to have their hands full. The deciding factor, again, is Scott Diamond will be on the outside.
You know, that whole situation has me feeling almost apologetic in a sense, because the young man in me says that, you know, I'm very appreciative to have this bestowed upon me, you know, to be able to take these guys on in the ring. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but they were the first people I shared a ring with in Kentucky ever. I believe you gentlemen were there for that at a KEPW show 2.5 years ago, give or take.
That was us.
But the diamond in me says it's time for them to go behind the barn. So, you know, I feel conflicted about it. Again, I cannot display enough my appreciation for this honor, this privilege. But the up-and-coming superstar says it's time.
It has to be. It has to be like hard for you because I mean you're so hungry and you want to beat these guys, but you grew up with these guys, watching them wrestle, and you've looked up to these guys, and they've taught you so much. But most of these guys that you're coming up now, most of these guys you're gonna have to pin them, and hopefully they'll understand that that's what you have to do. And
Hey, it's just like when Randy Orton went out on the Legend Killer tour.
That's right.
You know, Randy Orton, you know, his dad, Bob Orton Jr., which I booked for in Knoxville for many years, he had to come up and face guys that he was in the locker room with his dad meeting as a young child, just like Austin.
yeah,
But when it came time for business, he was all business. And he put a lot of great stars out of the business to pave his own way. And that's something that Austin's going to do. He's going to have to put his personal feelings and respect that he's got for these guys, he's going to have to put that in the back and come out as that hungry young lion that he is. And he's just going to have to say, hey, personally, I respect these guys, but professionally, I'm going to do what I've got to do to beat them.
Oh, Tuffy Jr.'s here. He said, well.
He'll get his soon enough. But in the meantime, you know, everybody makes us diamonds out to be these heartless, cold monsters, but I really don't feel that that's the case. You know, it breaks my heart to do what I have to do to these guys because they did watch me grow up. I looked up to these guys growing up. They watched me grow up, man, but I watched them grow old. It's now my duty to put them out because it almost seems like a service, man. It's better me than somebody else because I know I have what it takes to carry it on. And if I don't do it, somebody else might. It's my job to protect their legacies, to make sure that they don't damage it in years to come. So if I give them their farewell right now, they can go home happy and watch somebody like me on their TV. And I think that's the greatest gift that I could give these guys.
Guy should have been working for Continental in the 80s.
Yeah.
That's right. And you know what?
Yeah.
It's an honor for them to get beaten by Austin Diamond because when you put them out the pasture, that's an honor to them that they got beaten by such greatness.
Absolutely.
Well, they're partly to blame.
they should know.
You know, they're partly to blame.
Yes.
Apollo and JB are partly to blame because a lot that he knows, you know, he learned a lot from me, but he's learned a lot from these guys as well.
He's been around so many. Like, you know, we was talking about Omega. He was around Omega for a few years, right? You've been around Adrian and Omega, and
These guys are my brothers, man.
I know, like-
I've crashed on these guys' couches more than I have my own, and that's a shoot. You know, before Adrian's son was born, me and him legitimately spent about every weekend together, Friday through Sunday. The only thing that got in the way was I was still in school.
Yeah.
And again, that's a straight shoot. Omega was the same way. The reason I got in shape was largely in part to Omega. That guy
such a
believed
good
in me
guy.
when he had no reason to.
Omega, whenever he comes here, he's such a great guy. He really is.
Oh, here's a Chris for you, Austin. Ramo said, who would be in Austin Diamond's Diamond Cartel 2.0?
Whoever can handle it.
Exactly. Smart words, because you never know who can handle it.
Hey, man, it's not for everybody.
Exactly.
You got to be able to take a lot, man. I've spent more Thanksgivings with Ricky Morton than I have my own biological brother. That's not for everybody. Not everybody can handle eating out of gas stations on Thanksgiving and Christmas. Not everybody wants to be away from their family on birthdays, on Easter, on Christmas. Not everybody can handle that. It's just one of those things, man. It is what it is.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's in your blood. That wrestling is in your blood. It really is.
What's up, Tommy
And-
Green?
And you've already got
Tommy.
you've already got a championship belt to just
He's a star.
yeah.
And let's put kind of the emphasis on what it needs to be here on this championship that he's got. His very first championship match, the same as when I started the Diamond Cartel, the very night that we went out, the very first time as the Diamond Cartel, we won the USWF Tag Team Championships. And we never looked back. His very first championship match, he came home with the championship. So, I mean, that's not something that happens every day.
Simply Rick is just went nuts. He's just crazy. Yeah. He's like, you've drove that dude crazy. He's saying crazy things. He's doing acting crazy ways. He's challenged the legend here to a match, which he should not have done. That is just the most craziest thing that guy was ever done.
That's what I do to people, man.
Yeah.
I step in the ring with these people who think that they're stars, and I show them what it's like to burn in the starlight. You know what I mean? This is what I'm talking about. Again, it's not a heartless act to come in here with these guys and drive them crazy because it's not my doing. It's theirs. It's their fault for stepping into the ring with a diamond, man. Because what have we always done? We hurt people.
We want.
We hurt
We
people.
want.
At the end of the day, we hurt people.
Well, the difference is a lot of people come out, you know, if they wrestle one day a week, one day a month, 4 days a week, 4 days a month, whatever it is, they come out as their gimmick, and they're this persona once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times a month. But there's some people, and we fit into this category. This is not an act.
No.
This is us. Yeah. It's a lifestyle. You know,
this
is the way that we live.
That's why I love having you guys here. It's not like you're a different guy when you come that door and then you turn the mic on, you're a different person. No, you're the same guy that walks in that door every single time I've seen you. Every time I've seen you, also, you're the same guy. Every time I see you, you're the same person. That's why I love having you guys here. That's why I love being around you guys. That's why when you guys go back up there and defend that belt, we're going to be up there to help you guys. We'll be up there to cheer you on.
What you see is what you get. We don't take this off when we get in the car. This is us 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and when he was born, I was in the not in the Marine Corps, but I was in professional wrestling. And so those two things kind of mesh because it's a discipline. Both of them, the Marine Corps and this is a discipline, and it's a fighting background, you know, wrestling in the Marine Corps. And so that's been instilled in him from day one. We've never faked anything. I hate that word anyway because people don't get professional wrestling. It's just dues. This is nothing fake about us. This is us. What you see is what you get. We act this way at home. We act this way if you see us out. You know, I just had a new suit made. When we're at the tailors, this is us. When we come to the Nice Guy Andy podcast, like and subscribe and send as many stars as you can to the Nice Guy Andy podcast because this is us.
Yes.
This is us.
God
love
forbid
having
you
you
see
guys
us at
here.
a gas station, a truck stop, restaurant, choke and puke. It's not for everybody, man.
Exactly.
You know, we've jumped guys in the shower. We've thrown men in dumpsters in front of their wives, their kids. We've done a lot of despicable things, man, but it's in the interest of business. One of the biggest mottos, one of the biggest mottos of my lifetime has been, it's not personal, it's just business. And sometimes you got to do things that aren't popular to get a leg up.
Exactly.
And as Rick Gunner found out, we will do whatever it takes. The mission, as I was, referring to wrestling to the Marine Corps. In the Marine Corps, the mission is the most important thing. In wrestling, it's no different. The mission is the most important thing. And that night, the Doomsday Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Championship was the mission. The mission was to bring Austin Diamond and this belt together, and we did that.
It's here. I never thought the Doomsday Pro Wrestling belt would be in this podcast room.
And now it's done it twice.
Now
we had him on twice with it.
Yes.
It's been here.
And look, he'll be wearing that championship for as long as we want him to.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that Rick Gunner or anybody else at Doomsday can do about it.
Those guys
and that's a
definitely.
real champion right there.
And they're talking about martial law because they don't have a commissioner right now. So with martial law, anybody that's carrying that championship makes the rules. Hey, we didn't need that championship to make the rules because Austin Diamond, Scott Diamond, the Diamond Cartel, J.R. Rock, Frank the Tank, we've always done whatever we wanted to do anyway. So him saying that the DPW locker room is going to be martial law, that's no different than what we've been doing the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like he
You
got so scared the last time he stepped foot inside the ring with Austin Diamond. He saw the strength of the Diamond
martial
Cartel.
law, cartel law, diamond
goes hand
cartel
in
law.
hand.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. It goes hand in hand.
I would
Just
just
like
like
he
to
does
take a
everything.
second to say that Crusher Bones Forever, I adore you.
That's
all.
right, Triple
Gentlemen,
Balls.
please
Great
carry
guy.
on.
Great
You
guy.
know, we don't have to draw attention to it, but I see the comments
see-
over there, and
Nah,
brother,
he's a
I
great
love
guy.
you.
You see, Triple Balls, he knows greatness when he sees it. That's also the son of Crusher Bones.
Yes.
Look
You
at
know-
that. Austin Diamond said, Austin Diamond.
I see. He's a, that guy is.
Fear Jimmy the Snake.
He is at every wrestling match I ever go to. He's there.
He got some
I always
footage.
get a picture with him. He's always there.
Oh no.
I'd actually love to get a picture with him. He and I sat together for a little while at the last Elite Wrestling Alliance show. He got some footage of me at Doomsday that I really appreciated. Love that guy. He too was born into it. You know, of course, with his dad being in it. I love that guy. I can't say enough good stuff about
Yeah,
that
we need to have him
Same
back
here,
in the.
because we gotta have him back on.
We want to have you back in the studio.
Dearest Mr. Balls, if you can make it, I would love nothing more than for you to be at the January 3rd Diamond Bash, man.
He
It
goes
would be my
he'll be
pleasure.
there. He goes everywhere. He's always.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he ever goes home. I think he stays at.
He
he lives
stays
in
in the car
venue.
driving to the next event.
Yeah, he
yeah.
stays in wrestling rings somewhere. He sleeps
he's
in the
got-
wrestling ring.
Sleeps
And
in the
they-
ring truck.
They can watch his channel and see everything that Crusher Bones has done
Yes.
on that channel.
Yes, for everybody out there, again, I want to put out the address. It's going to be at the Coolidge Building in Nicholasville, Kentucky, which is on Maple Street, this Friday, January the 3rd. Come on out because it's going to be a party.
Guys, great
Exactly.
place to have a wrestling match. New South had a few shows there last year, guys. If you guys that went to those shows, if y'all remember, New South Wrestling had a couple shows there.
KEPW was in that building.
KEPW is there. It's wrestling's been there for a few, a long time. So, guys, y'all know where it's at. It's just down there in Nicholsville. Plenty of parking. So please come out. What's the ticket at the door?
I believe they start at $15, and I think front row is $20. I believe
Front row's $20, $15. But there's not a bad
But there's not
Right.
a bad match. I mean,
there's not a bad seat in the whole
And-
place.
You know, we've expanded it this year. A lot of times over the years, we've had 6, maybe 7 matches, counting the Battle Royal. This year, because again, they're all main event matches. We've got 7 actual matches, and then we have the Battle Royal. So we have 8 matches that we're going to bring to you that night, and that's unheard of. You know, you're only paying one price, and you're getting the appreciation there from 6:30 to 7, and from 7 on, you're going to have 7 big matches and then a battle royal for $1,500.
And
Exactly.
I'm sure Bucks and Muck Catering will be down there serving
Actually,
up some food.
Jessica Diamond is going to be
Okay.
doing catering and stuff
Jessica
that
Diamond's
night.
doing.
She used to do my catering way back when in the day, and so with this being the last Diamond Bash, she wanted to step in and
Okay,
do
cool.
that. You know, no offense to Buck and Mucks, they do a great job.
Yeah.
I had talked to them about possibly doing it, but Jessica expressed to me, with it being the last, that she would like to do it because it's an end of an era for her as well.
Yeah.
Because again, years ago, when I was promoting, she would do all of my concessions, and you know she couldn't cook when I met her, but she cooks really good now. You know, she cooks really good now.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so she's going to be doing the catering down there. So she's going to bring out a lot of good food, and it's just going to be one hell of a night. You know, good food, good action. It's going to be, you know, champagne's going to be flowing. The house is going to be packed.
You got the time, bro.
It's
10 till 9.
I mean, there's a reason that it's the event of the year.
Exactly.
You know, it's kind of the independent circuit's kind of like a WrestleMania kind of deal. We got all these main event matches. We're giving away $1,500. I mean, where else are you going to go and have that kind of event? Because most of your wrestling matches are 6 matches, and nobody's giving away any money.
Exactly.
You know, and so we're going to be doing all of that, and you're going to get to see some great stars. You know, Netflix star, Amazing Maria. You know, she's a WoW superstar. She's a tag team champion out there with Jesse Jones. She's going to be there. Frank the Tank, the enforcer for the Diamond Cartel the last 15 years. He's in from Vegas. He's going to be there.
Such a entertaining
Andy.
guy.
It's time to get them the little title that we have here.
Oh, Tank.
Yep, Frank the Tank.
A full time of fun, full night of fun and a lifetime of memories. Come out, guys. January 3rd, not one to be forgotten, not one to be overlooked.
Plus, it's in Bel Air.
I was in Hazard one night, and this little boy came up to me, and he said, look, he was probably 8 or 9 years old. He said, Scott Diamond, I seen you last Saturday on TV. And for me, it didn't click at first. But then when we started promoting again the following Scott Diamond Birthday Bash, another little boy came up to me. And he said, hey, I'm going to be at the Scott Diamond Birthday Bash. It'll be my first one. And then his father comes over. He said, it's going to be his first one. But I went to my first one when I was a young kid like him. So it really, I mean, for these children to come up and their parents, I knew their parents when their parents were children and they were coming to the Scott Diamond Birthday Bash. And when they say, they're coming to the bash, they see me on television, that really made it come full circle for me because all of us were those little boys that were watching wrestling on Saturday. And now when I have people, like Sean Johns, I watched Sean Johns grow up, at ringside. When these guys that are now grown are bringing their children or their children saying, hey, I seen you on television, that means so much to me. That's a feeling like you just can't describe.
Exactly. Tommy Green says, is there room for one more? Tommy Green.
Hey, there's always room for an old man. I'll tell you, I'm going to be there, so I don't want to be the only old man. Come on.
And Tuffy Jr. said, I'm heading to bed. Night, y'all, and Oscar Diamond. Hope you dream about me tonight, Princess. He also said that you might see him at the birthday bash.
I would love to see
Mike,
Tuffy
you better
and Tuffy
break your
Jr.
ass out.
Yeah, if he's not busy in a dumpster somewhere.
I'll be there when I get off work. So I gotta
It's going
work
to be a
till
hell of
6
a
that
show,
night.
too.
I got to work till 6 that night.
It's going to be a hell of an event. It really is. Again,
Like
over
Bobby
the years,
Green's on there too.
Hey, Bobby.
What's up, Bobby?
Bobby Green.
It's always been a great event, and this year is not going to be any different. Like I said, it's amazing that the camaraderie that's been showed to me over the years and the rapport that I've gotten with so many people over the years. Look, it's not just everybody that can bring the NWA World Television Championship there. Not only that, we're going to defend the Heritage, the Elite Wrestling Alliance Heritage Championship. So we got 2 championships on the line. We've got, many championship wrestlers on there that's held. Jordan Cage has held many championships. HNIC,
Yeah, there's not
many
too many
championships.
people on there, I don't think, that have held gold at one time or another.
Right, almost
Just about everybody.
Just about everybody that's going to be on the bash this year has held championship gold at one point or another. Frank the Tank, again, he was always been the enforcer. He's been heavyweight champion. He's been multiple-time tag team champion.
Ohio State champion, equality champion.
Equality champion. I mean, he's held many championships. And along, again, like I said, with Jordan Cage and a lot of the other people there's not but maybe a couple of people that's going to be on the bash. Chris Michaels, again, former champion. Omega, former champion. Almost everybody that's on this card has held championship gold at one time or another.
Exactly. And that's a lot of talent.
It's the top tier. It is definitely the top tier of talent that's going
And
to be
it's also the Scott Diamond birthday bash, which everybody and their mama should know about.
there. Look, they all know. I can tell you a quick couple of funnies. I had a friend that was going to Bristol, a guy that I served in the Marine Corps with,
Yep.
and he calls me up and he says, hey, man, we were talking about wrestling, and these 2 guys that were going with me, they mentioned your name. And these guys are from Charleston, South Carolina. They were driving to Tennessee for a race. And so, I started down south, so I got a little bit of notoriety down there years ago. But these guys down in Charleston are talking to my buddy that's going to the race with them, and they're talking about Scott Diamond. And so Paulie says, oh, yeah, I served in the Marine Corps with him. I'm good friends with Scott Diamond. And they started laughing at him, said, yeah, you're just trying to look big because you don't know Scott Diamond. And so he calls me up and says, look, these 2 cats are laughing at me. He said, I don't know you. Can you talk to them? And I said, look, if I talked to everybody that tried to call me on the phone, I'd never get off the phone. When I was promoting and writing and booking and stuff, I would get about 175 texts, emails, and calls a day. And so I said, I won't talk to them on the phone, but I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll go over to your page and I'll give you a shout out. And so I did, went over and said, hey, my buddy Paul, good friends with him. We served in the Marine Corps. We've been friends for over 30 years. He's headed to Bristol to see the race, and I just want to wish him a good day. And it was nice talking to him on the phone today, and to his buddies. Yes, Paul and I are great friends. And he called me back and he said, they're not laughing now.
Exactly. That just shows how far your name reaches.
You know, I've sold merchandise in Wales. I've sold merchandise in Puerto Rico. I've been very blessed. You know, I've been surrounded by good people at what we do. And so with that, I'm not saying I'm the only reason that made my career great. You know, certainly being able to answer the door when opportunity knocks is a plus, and I was able to do that. But I was always surrounded by people that had great talent as well as me, and they could answer the opportunities knock as well. And so, you know, it's partly me, but it's partly the people that I've been surrounded with. You know, Amazing Maria, Frank the Tank, J.R. Rock. That's what has, I think, helped me elevate my career to the point that it is now.
Exactly. And plus, Austin Diamond here, his name's getting out there because he's had so many people that has helped him get to where he is now. And he's learned from them.
Yes. I mean, you know, I've done shows with Dan Severin, I mean, Jerry Lawler, you name it. I've done shows with them. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Tito Santana, Hacksaw Jim Duggan,
Greg Valentine.
I mean,
Boogie,
Rikishi, Tracy Smothers, rest his soul. I loved him to death.
There's his name.
But
it always comes up on
always.
the podcast.
Oh, trust me.
All these people, Bill Eadie, you know, MASH and Axe,
Yep.
And the MASH superstar he was. I mean, all these guys that I've done these shows with, Austin had the opportunity to learn from all of them. You know, he sat in, we've had people come out and put on seminars. You know, Al Snow, Austin was there for that. Chris Silvio, so many people, Tracy Smothers, so many people that's come out, put on seminars, or I've done events with. Legendary Larry D.
Yep.
Austin's learned from all of these people. You know, Rob Terry.
He soaked in that knowledge.
Which Rob Terry was a beast of a guy as well. I mean, one of the biggest guys I've ever seen in my life.
So everybody says, "Hey, I'd love to be that fly on the wall." Like, actually, Austin has been.
He was that fly on the wall.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
the little kid in the back, just nobody knew he was sitting there. He was
And
just
he was
listening to all the stories.
Look, Rob Terry says to me, I come into the back, and Rob says, "Hey, you sure this kid is not a midget?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Your son." He said, "I was trying to talk to him like a little kid, and he started talking over my head." You know? So he's like, "You sure he's not a midget?" Because he's not a little kid. I said, "Well, he's, you know, mentally he's not a little kid. He's young, but he's sat under so many learning trees that he had the opportunity that most people don't get."
Hard to believe he didn't want to talk about Dorian Funk Jr. with the 6-year-old.
Right. That was one of the questions he asked him. He said, you know, who's your favorite wrestler? And Austin says, well, past, present, all times. What are you talking about? And Rob Terry says, well, you know, all times. He said, Dory Funk Jr. What'd you say? He said, yeah, Dorian Terry. He said, you know, Terry won his first NWA championship in 1974. And Rob Terry said, kid, I can't talk to you.
But it's true.
So, Austin, is there any like being, you know, the kid that's there listening to any of those stories? Is there anything that just stands out to you? I'm sure you have 1,000 little stories to tell, but is there something that you can tell us that's just we wouldn't think you knew?
On air? That's the qualifier. Well,
Hold up.
let's see here.
The bathroom trips we can't talk about.
Can't talk about the midget and the jelly beans. Let's see here. Ask me that same question when we go off the air.
Okay. Well,
Give her a minute
we
to
want the
think
story
about
for the air.
We'll get kicked off the air. Side note, I see Gina in the comments. Go home. You have something else that's better to do, huh?
She said she's
Scott
not,
Diamond. Scott Diamond is awesome. Nobody else. Just Scott Diamond, right? Yeah. Go home, Gina.
Yeah, I'm pretty awesome.
Thank you, Gina.
Sometimes
We got Chapter Tire tuning
She
in
needs
as
some
well.
Johnny's pretty awesome. Sometimes.
I'm awesome all the
I'm
time.
always awesome.
You don't believe
What
me,
you talking
just
about? I
ask.
got the
Sean, you
secret.
got any questions for Scott Diamond, Austin Diamond?
No,
No, you cannot feel it, Sean.
I never said that was never my
I appreciate that you waited until I was of age, but the answer is still no.
Leon, you got any questions?
I never want to feel you.
I just like listening.
Yeah.
It's, you know, let me say, Leon and I have talked on the phone several times being up here. It's really great that he was able to come in and make it with us tonight. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And he's part of the podcast, even when he's not around.
Yeah, I
we
got-
still consider him
I got two
one of the top
heathens.
dogs.
Two heathens.
He knows a lot about wrestling. He knows a lot about wrestling. He's studied YouTube a lot about
I
wrestling.
love hearing you talk about just like the old school psychology of wrestling. It's my favorite. That's the one thing missing from the business.
Exactly.
You and I had a conversation about
The
that.
psychology just isn't there
Yep.
anymore.
When y'all talk about the
it's
abysmal
crazy
man.
because like we're watching this and it's feel like it has less of that than like when you go to an independent and like they're like especially down here in the South, like you can definitely feel like they take and embrace the traditions of wrestling.
I think that's really where it stands because I think you want people to come back. And, we're watching, I don't want to bring up the name because I don't know about the legalities, but we're watching one of the newer companies.
AEW.
And as you said, and he says, I don't
No,
give
we
a
watch
damn.
it every Wednesday, so we.
So I don't give a damn. Sue
Everybody
me,
knows,
baby.
Everybody knows we watch
But
it.
listen, the thing that I hate about AEW can go back to when even Page hits the military press slam off the middle rope, and Bandito jumps back up like it was nothing, and that was like, fuck this company.
It's they're taking away the stories. They're just having a bunch of matches. They're not telling a bunch of stories. And I really think, Leon,
That's what's lost.
the psychology is the hardest part of our business. So many people think they know it, and most of them do not.
Right.
Psychology is the hardest part of our business. And when you take out the psychology and you take out the stories, why the hell should I come back?
Exactly.
They go so fast. Like AEW goes so fast with their storylines. Like draw it out a little bit. Like let us know some when I was in the Navy, they said
Thanks for feeding us so well.
attention. They when I was in Chief Giovinco taught us attention to detail.
Amen.
And they don't show us no attention to detail. They don't give us any kind of tiny little details that we really need to know to make the story better.
It's like when I was younger. It's like when you're a little kid. Before he was showing me wrestling, I would sit in my mom's room and I'd watch the novellas and the Days of Our Lives and stuff. And then it kind of transitions to wrestling. And it's like
Certainly.
when the Days of Our Lives can tell better stories than the wrestling. It's like what's happening.
It should be a soap opera.
Yeah, it's a male soap opera. That's too like
That's what we're selling, yeah.
Exactly.
We're selling the stories.
some of the greatest stories ever been told have been told in the wrestling ring.
That's right.
It certainly has.
I watched Ric Flair, the end of Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels, and when he's just sitting there and I've watched movies, I've read books, video games, all this, and when he's like give it to me, you don't get that anywhere else.
And
in
also,
wrestling.
don't forget when Shawn Michaels says, "I love you" right before the super
Yeah,
kick.
it's-
Right, as we were saying earlier,
Like, I got chills
mass
talking
respect. You and me both, really. Because again, he had mass respect for Ric Flair. They respect each other.
That's
But
right.
Rick said, "Hey, because of the kind of man that he was, I don't want you to come out here and feel sorry for me. I want you to give me your best."
Yeah.
And Sean, as Austin said earlier, it's not personal. Personally, I love you, but business,
It's
I'm going to
business.
show you. I am the showstopper, and I'm going to show you why. I'm giving you my best. And that's what they did. And when you talk about being real, because wrestling can be very real, that makes the best story because there's
Wrestling's brought tears
connection.
to my eyes. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Exactly.
It's the most compelling form of storytelling I think ever. It's a play, it's comedy, it's all sorts of things just jumbled into one. And when you can do it right, it's perfect.
Here's a recent example of a good story. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. This feud started late 2023 with the hatred that Drew McIntyre had towards CM Punk. They built and they just kept on going on, hating each other until finally the Hell in a Cell had to be the end all be all. And they busted each other open. They tore each other apart. They put their body on line. And both of them were out for a long
Love the
time.
passion he's got when he's talking
And that
about
story,
it. Love it.
and that story's not even over. And then like
The bloodline.
Because
is like,
it's real.
Bloodline.
Exactly.
Right there.
You know?
So many twists and turns.
the bloodline's like it's like the Marvel. It's like when you go in and you watch like the Iron Man movies. It's like you mix that with the Godfather. Like it has
Yeah.
its epic proportions of just
Yes.
I can't even put it
You
into
know,
words for it.
like back when Ric Flair and Eric Bischoff had the big feud, when Rick went to Reed's event in Florida instead of going to the pay-per-view, and Eric Bischoff sued him
It
for
was
$2 million.
It wasn't a pay-per-view. It was just a Thursday taping.
Thought it was a
And
lot
so,
of it.
but he sued him for $2 million. And when Rick finally made his comeback, as Rick said to Eric Bischoff when he come out there and Arn Anderson brought him out, Hey, look, do you think Sting was in the back with tears in his eyes?
Hold up.
He was back there with tears in his eyes because it was real. You know, it was
Exactly.
real.
Nobody cares about
It's
Hardman
Cam.
Cam.
Oh,
Say something, Cam.
Conveniently, I have to urinate.
No, I just want to get on here and tell Austin and Pops, how much I appreciate y'all. Y'all been there for me
Come to suck a dick.
since I first started. I remember when I first came to my first.
He's got a burn mark on his lip from that already, Leon.
I remember when I first came to my first KPW show, seeing Austin in the crowd and his family, and seeing Scott in the ring. I just want to let y'all know how much I appreciate y'all, and I'm ready for this Friday. But I just want to come on here and tell y'all that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cam.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
hey Cam, Austin wants you in the hallway.
That's right. Hallway match. You, Austin.
I'll do it. Sign me up.
Because I'm only off on Saturday, Sundays, and Mondays. Pick a day. I'm here whatever.
Conveniently,
I'm
I'm
here all
busy
Hey, look,
Saturday, Sunday, and
We're,
Monday.
we're not above coming to your work.
That's right.
You know,
He works at the mall here in Lexington.
We can find him real
Time
fast.
Work, he got kicked out because of me. So,
Was that before or after I cornered you in the bathroom?
hey, pick a day. I'm here all night. I'm literally here right now.
You know, go-
I gave him.
I gotta say-
I gave him this much of bourbon. I probably gave Cam this much of bourbon. He was out in the hallway like.
Hey, like I'm drunk. Someone come pick me up.
so what Leon's saying is you drink one, spill one, pour one out, and he's messed up.
They ended up drinking his last drink.
You know, I will say Cam is the only guy to ever embarrass me. You know, when I pinned him up in the bathroom, I reached my hand in his pocket to take his wallet, and there was a hole in his pocket.
Heck,
Never
don't
want
be
to go to
trying to put some
movies
more.
with Cam.
Oh, shoot.
That's his.
Yeah, that's his M.O., right?
Yep.
Hey, it's good to joke with you, Cam. We
That's
love
his
you,
Friday
brother.
night. That's his Friday night entertainment. The hole in his pocket.
Yeah.
I was the fourth guy to try and rob him that day.
Thanks for calling in, Cam.
He's got 2 different dates in the same evening.
You're talking about story. Talking
Fun
about
fact.
storytelling again. You say that Drew McIntyre and CM Punk had long term. Well, this thing that they're doing right now, Seth Rollins and CM Punk,
Yep.
started when CM Punk first day. It first came, like it started like
Since the Shield, 2012,
it started back in the day though, like when they
when he was Tyler Black.
when he said keep Phil out of WWE.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
said, don't let him come here, and it just been. They tell the story. They just keep on telling them the same. They keep
And
on
he-
telling the story. Like
Here's another layer to that.
why? Like it seems like in AEW though they forget. Like they go from a story, and a guy had a match, and then the next week after that you'll have that guy tag teaming with the other guy, and it's like.
And sometimes they forget what a baby face and a heel is.
Yeah,
Like, one week
exactly.
they'll be baby, and the next week they'll be heel, and
Well-
that shit irritates the fucking.
Well, they just had
Nerves on
the
my back.
match between MJF and what's his face
Adam Cole.
Adam Cole. Well, why didn't they? Okay, so Adam Cole and MJF were babies together. They turned on each other.
Why was Adam Cole that turned?
Why didn't?
heel?
Yeah, why didn't he turn him heel with him?
But here's my thing.
Like why didn't when they had their match? Why didn't he turn him heel back with him? I don't
But here's the
understand. Like,
thing.
why didn't they were great together as babies. So they had a little feud, and then now they could turn him heel with him, and they could have a great heel run together.
But here's the thing. Who's the better heel between them? Because if it was MJF that turned heel, that people wouldn't have fizzled like it did. When they turned him babyface, he injured himself weeks before that, jumping off of that injured ramp.
MJF.
Adam Cole.
Oh,
And then they brought in the Undisputed Kingdom, which was supposed to be the devil for some reason, but that was MJF's gimmick. They thought for sure that was going to somehow elevate Adam Cole. All it did was not only mess up MJF's run, but it also messed up Adam Cole's. If you're going to tell a story, you got to be coherent with it. You can't just make Adam Cole wear his
They
devil
forget
mask and
about
make
it,
him
and
be
then
devil.
they forget about what the story they're telling, and then they just automatically start telling a different
The
story.
art of the turn has been just bastardized. Like, it used to be
Exactly.
one of the best things whenever your favorite wrestler would
Yeah.
turn on a guy, or your favorite wrestler, or the bad guy that you have been like, oh, I want him on the good side so bad he comes to the light. Like, they've bastardized that. Like,
Yeah.
The greatest face turn of all time is Darth Vader. I mean,
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about it. It's
Yeah.
That's right.
Episode
Yeah.
6 at the end of Return of the Jedi when he throws fucking Emperor onto the chute. That's the greatest face turn of all time.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the blueprint of how to do that, and I feel like the companies have lost that. It's
Yeah, it's
been
like,
bastardized.
like when
Yeah.
I go to independent wrestling, I want there to be stories as well because if it's gonna be wrestling, it needs a story. It can't
So-
be a,
Match,
can't
match,
just be the
match,
money.
Me and Johnny sit here and talked, and we've talked together. Tony Khan is the booker of that. We figured out how Tony Khan
Yeah.
books the show. So Tony Khan is a billionaire,
I'm
right?
missing him.
He's got
He's going over, not you.
an intense action figure collection. So he sits in his office. He has the little ring, and he has all these WWE action figures. That's why he brings WWE guys in. Because if you don't have an action figure for him to play in the ring together
throws
with,
you
He
away.
forgets about you.
he won't book you. He won't book you for the show.
I mean,
so.
prime example, Ricky Starks. He's like, well, I ain't got no figure of Ricky Starks, so I'm just gonna have
We
this
can make
guy
this-
go over.
I got this
I'm not gonna book
Rock.
him ever again.
I got this skinny Rock over here. Let's make that.
Ricky Starks.
Okay,
Yeah.
it was Ricky Stark. We know you want to act like this, but you got to act like a skinny Rock. So we're gonna that way I can book
That's
you.
all I got.
But
That's all I got is a skinny
The
Rock.
saddest thing to me,
Skitty Rock
and I could be wrong, but it really did feel like
is a Rocky
Adam
Maivia action
Copeland
figure.
buried Ricky Starks because he's mad about being called bug-eyed. But here's the thing, in wrestling, anything goes in promos.
He
because
just came
think
back.
about it.
He just came back. Edge just came back and joined up with FTR, and then we've already seen him do that. We've seen CM Punk do.
Yeah, we've seen that a million times.
Now they call it rated FTR. Like, didn't we say it? Wasn't it the
Yeah.
same?
But if you think about it, Andy, AEW's been doing the same damn story since 2019.
They were
Well,
doing
maybe-
the same
then
thing
maybe-
at the
about
same
that.
time.
Then maybe we're
Exactly.
wrong. Then maybe they are storytelling.
No, they're doing the worst kind of storytelling
They
because
had the elite-
they've not tried to move on or try to create new stories.
They're telling the shitty story.
ADHD is real in.
I noticed the
AEW.
coke with that guy.
Right.
Hey, yeah, hey, you notice they're in a smaller venue, so it looks
It looks
more
packed
full
out.
than what it is.
Yeah, it looks packed
Well,
out because
Hey, I
it's
do-
a small
I'm-
business.
Right now.
I know I've been shitting on AEW, but when they come to town, I love going to see. Loves going to see them in person. They have actually really, really good action wrestling in the ring. If they could actually get a booker and somebody that wanted to tell some stories,
Yeah.
and some of these guys would work with the booker and the
But Tony
storyteller.
said, I'm never going to hire a booker. I'm like,
Classic
that's
example
your
of
worst
a mark.
mistake.
It feels like now something's missing in the wrestling industry. In the '90s, there was ECW. In the territory days, it was
Oh,
just,
Ricochet.
it was whoever you wanted to see. You could go and watch.
Mr.
You know,
Ball.
you pick
Oh,
your
got some
poison.
skizzers.
We're missing a third brand.
Yes, we
in
are.
this day and age of wrestling.
Yes, we
TNA.
are.
Competition is good.
Yeah.
It really
Competition
is.
But I don't understand why they want to use like scissors and like that. Just don't make no sense to me. Come on.
I'll tell you why. Because Tony Khan, he don't care. All he cares about is that Jaguars.
I'm gonna go out there and hit you with.
He doesn't
I've came
care
to
about the
conclusion.
Jaguars.
I've came to the conclusion, though, that so Tony Khan's dad owns the Jaguars. He owns
Fulham Rec League.
he owns a big soccer league over in Europe, right? I think TNA. I think AEW is just a tax write off.
Kind of a sideline.
It's a tax write off. He's like, here's, you go over there and spend this $50 million, and we'll write it off as a tax loss.
Which, I mean, he's making money there on his
Yeah.
taxes. So, I mean, that's kind of a good move.
Yeah.
John
Yep.
Steven
Exactly.
has chimed in to stroke Scott Diamond's ego.
Yep,
Andy, if
he
you'd
has.
like to read that.
John Stevens is another one I watched grow up in ringside.
One of my favorite rivalry matches from Kentucky is from 2014. I believe it's when Scott Diamond versus Earl Kelly in Irving, Kentucky in a dumpster match.
Sold out. We sold out the the Estill County Fair Barn that night. So many people, because we were about 50 at the time.
Diamond
Yeah.
wannabe right there.
And when Earl Kelly and I did that match, we were both about the same age. We were both about 50. Some of the young cats at a dumpster match, you old guys, nobody's going to come. Nobody's going to care. Let me tell you, we sold out the Estill County Fair Barn. We had such a hellacious match. J.R. Rock got involved. Ryan Dukey got involved. John Strange got involved. Even the other wrestlers was getting involved. John Strange is a crazy dude.
I know, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We seen him wrestle
Yeah,
at
that paper plate mask. This dumb.
we seen him watch it at Caverna. Crazy.
Look, I seen him and J.R. Rock at the arena, and John Strange jumped off of the top stairwell up there. Oh, wow. Jumped off of the top stairwell onto J.R. Rock. Look, John Strange is a crazy dude. He'll do anything.
Yeah.
But that was a great rivalry. Earl Kelly and I always, we raised a lot of money for Toys for Tots, but I just didn't like the guy, and I guess he didn't like me either. So it culminated, into that dumpster match because, many times I always had people around me. We whipped the hell out of Earl Kelly night after night. And finally he said, look, we'll keep the Cartel out of it. They were banned from ringside. We'll have this dumpster match. Whoever goes in the dumpster will leave SWF. And so at the time, the commissioner was John Strange. Earl Kelly was the CEO, but John Strange was the commissioner. And due to some circumstances, I lost that match. And John Strange fired me right there in front of the people on the spot. But it was...
So what's the dumpster match? You got to be put in the dumpster?
You got to be put in the dumpster and close the lid.
Oh,
And the very first one that I remember as far back is when I watched Catchy Jack and Chainsaw Charlie take on the Road Dogg, Jesse James, and Billy Gunn inside dust match. And that's a wild match.
And see, actually, Earl Kelly and I, when Ryan Dukey and J.R. Rock and some of the other wrestlers came out, they threw us both in the dumpster. It was like the old guys were taking our spot, so we want to get rid of them. We want to end this match. And so after about 30 minutes, they came out and they threw both of us in the dumpster. And so we literally were in this dumpster fighting it out to see who could get out of the dumpster first. And, Earl kind of hit my head against the side of the dumpster there after we got done throwing some fists or whatever. And so he was able to climb out before me. And I was on the verge of climbing out. Earl Kelly came off of the apron and caught me with the elbow, which caused me to fall back into the dumpster as I was getting out. Close the lid, and it only takes a second to close that lid.
That's the only way he won.
And as soon as he closed the lid, like I said, it only took a second. It didn't matter that I was able to climb out after the fact, but as soon as the lid closed, I lost the match.
Yeah, because the rules are you gotta be inside dumpster when that lid closes. It's over.
And was fired on the spot. I was fired on the spot.
Yep, and that's a story within a story because you had you guys fighting and the young guys coming after y'all both because they felt like.
Well, Johnny, I broke 2 of his ribs that night, so I didn't feel too bad about losing the match.
Right.
I lost the job and I lost the match, but I broke 2 of his ribs.
That's right. Always get back.
I think my favorite moment in Kentucky wrestling was when Al Steele turned heel on Chucky Smooth and joined with Jim Chadwick.
Yes.
Kids crying in the fucking front row.
Yes.
You were there that night. That was a hellacious night. That was insane.
The greatest Kentucky manager, no offense to you, Scott, but
he was
Jim, man.
He was like Jim
He's
Cornette,
on a
like
whole nother level.
A heat magnet.
And you're right now going up there. You're right there on that.
Was that the night y'all left and never came back?
Yeah,
I came in. I came in and worked with Jim for about 2 years, and at first we really didn't get along because he knew, Jim was sick. He had kidney problems and things. Jim knew as great as he was, and he was great at what he done. Don't take anything away from him. He's a great manager, and I learned a few things from him too. But he knew that I was on the scene and I was the guy that was going to take his place.
That's right.
But once we came to grips with that, he put me over. He endorsed me, and I was proud to go in and fill his shoes. Not only fill his shoes, but become my own person. But Jim Chadwick was definitely a part of that when I first came to Kentucky, because he had proved himself in this state. I hadn't. I came from the South. I was still yet to prove myself. But before it was all said and done, in Mackville, Kentucky, and in Georgetown, Kentucky, gentleman Jim Chadwick put me over and said, hey,
that's right.
This is the guy that's going to fill my shoes when I'm not here no more because he's damn good at what he does. And
And I
I wish he could be here now to see where that
He used to give
went
me
to.
M&Ms as a kid. I'd go to the show and he'd be like, "You want some of these?" I'm like, sure, thank you.
Hey, look, his mother made the best peanut butter fudge in the world.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Every year I was buying $20,
Thank
$30,
you for
$40 of
reminding
peanut
me.
butter fudge from Jim because my dad, which his name was Jim as well, my dad loved his mother's peanut butter fudge. So every time that she would make it, Jim would bring a big old batch and, hey, Scott, I got some fudge. $20, $30, $40, whatever it was. And I bought him out every time.
That's
every
what
time.
I'm talking about. I have to bet you to say that you and him are right here on the same pedestal because you're a hell of a manager as well. You came to your own.
Yeah, it took me a little while. We started out, and again, as I said earlier, we won championship gold the very first night. But again, part of that, I learned things from Jim because he knew the ropes here in Kentucky. I did not. When I first came to Kentucky, I did not. Again, I started down south, but it's the same, but it's different everywhere you go, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And Jim knew how to work the people in Kentucky, and, I kind of learned that from him. And as Austin is getting ready to do, carry on the legacy, I took up where Jim left off, and we just personified it.
We were talking about psychology earlier. What's the psychology of working different towns in different states? Like, how does that pertain?
Good
you
question.
were saying, you were saying, he taught you the ropes in Kentucky on how to work the people. What's different from Kentucky versus Alabama or somewhere like Florida?
Everywhere you go, down south a little bit, it's kind of the Memphis style. You go up north a little bit, they're a little more spot monkeys, if you will. So the heart of wrestling is the same, but depending on where you are in the country, it's just got a little different feel. You still have some people maybe say up north that like a little bit of the Memphis style, but they're more into the fast pace. That's not like the ground and pound, the kind of Johnny Valentine style, if you will. So the heart of the wrestling is the same all over, but you just got to tweak it a little bit depending on where you're at in the country.
Right.
Exactly. Because what works for one place,
you just got to feel the people out and see what they want and what they're expecting and things like that.
I'd say it's harder now since back in the day you probably didn't have so you went to one town and they had a storyline going there, and you go to another town and they have a different storyline. Now it's so easy to see what went on in Hazard, and next day you're going to be this, and I can get on the internet and see what went on in Hazard, and the next day see what happened in, say, Georgetown or Richmond. How do you keep the integrity of the character by going to, say, a different storyline here and a different storyline there? You just
being true to yourself.
You have to be true to
that
yourself.
Yeah.
You have to go out there and give the promoter or the bookers what they ask for because they're paying you, and it's a job, and so you want to do what they tell you to do because you're paying it. But you have to be true to your character. Bottom line.
Facts.
If they want you to go out and if they wanted me to wrestle Leon or in one style, and then I went somewhere else and they wanted me to wrestle Johnny in another style, I'll give them the style that they're asking for. Yeah. That's what's so good about wrestling different people from around the country, because you have to be able to adjust and wrestle any style at any time.
Yeah.
At any time. So you want to go out there and you want to do what the promoter or the booker wants you to do, whatever style it is. But the bottom line is, even doing different styles, you have to stay true to the character.
Exactly.
Well, I feel like that's also the dying breed of the territories, where during the territories, every territory had a different style of wrestling. You don't go down to Memphis, it was just crazy brawls all over the place. You go up to the Northeast, it's big giants, louder than life.
Yeah.
So that kind of became a lost art of more of just getting down to how the people in that town feel about wrestling, to where now it's like how you said, it's the heart of wrestling is still everywhere, but in different places they want you to do different stuff.
Right. And again, when I first came to Kentucky, there was a lot of people, because they didn't know me right off the bat, that was pulling me in a lot of different areas in a lot of different ways. And I just had to say to them, look, I enjoy working here. Mm-hmm. I enjoy the people that I'm surrounded with and I'm in the ring with. But the bottom line is, I'll do whatever you want me to do, but I got to do it my way.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's got to make sense.
I guess we've been to places and we've seen promotions be like, oh, we go down to the one, say you go down to Hazard and you got the same, they're using the same wrestlers and the same, and when and then like you have a match between one guy and the other guy, and then like 2 weeks later you see those guys in another place tag teaming with each other, and it's like, come on, guys, as promoters, we probably need to talk to each other and say, hey, I got a program going with these guys. Let's not have them tag with each other up there. And if you do, then they need to hate each other.
Yeah.
The story needs.
Yeah, you need to keep the continuity.
It's almost like the whole
Jared
story.
up there with his boots slung over
The
his
story needs to go between all promotions sometimes.
Well,
I
wrestlers
think.
have to have the nerve to not to stand up to promoters, but to discuss their things with promoters and say, hey, again, I will do what you want me to do, what you need me to do, but I need to do it in my style and not let them bury you per se. Give them what they want, but again, it has to be in your style. You have to stay true to your character, because if you're out here and with social media has been a great thing and it's been a bad thing. All at the same time. But if I'm in Hazard and I'm doing television as we used to do years ago, and I'm against somebody, then I go to another event that's going to be on social media, I'm not going to tag with you.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to tag with you.
Can't.
If I have to, then they're going to know that you and I don't we don't gel, we don't jive. And so when we're out there, if the promoter needs me to tag with somebody that I've got a feud going on, when we're in that tag match, I may go ahead and tag with them because that's what the promoter asked.
Yeah.
But I'm going to let it be known, I don't like you.
Yeah.
If Andy and if Andy and I've got a feud going on somewhere and then
that's
a
the way
promoter
it should
says
be.
we got to tag, I'm going to let it know right in front of the people, to the public, to Andy.
Yeah.
I may have to be here to tag with you, but don't get it mixed up. I still cannot stand your guts.
Yeah, and I might have my hand out there to tag, but that don't mean I'm not going to move it out of the way when you come to tag me, or
Exactly.
Or if you disrespect me at
gonna-
ringside, even though we're on the same team, don't think that I'm not going to punch you in the mouth too.
Exactly. That's the way it should be. That
Because
and that's
I
the way
hate
we
seeing-
always were.
I hate seeing two guys that are feuding team up with each other, and they're acting all friendly. And I'm thinking, you motherfuckers just had the most heated rivalry of your life, and you're over here acting like your best friends now? That ain't gonna fly. That's how you ruin a good story.
Look, like I said a while ago, Earl Kelly and I, we generated a lot of money for Toys for Tots. Toys for Tots is a Marine Corps baby, and I'm being a Marine is very near and dear to my heart. A friend of ours, Ken White, who's the sheriff in Estill County, he was a representative of that. And so Earl Kelly and I always came together to make this money for these children and these toys for these children.
Yeah.
But we always let it be known. I really didn't like Earl. Earl didn't really like me. But as we coined a phrase, we had a common ground at a certain time of the year.
Exactly.
Yeah, mutual respect. And we both wanted to make as many toys and as much money as we can make for these children. So even though I hate you, I don't have to love you to come together for a common goal.
That's why. That's when you can set your ego aside and be like, hey, let's do this.
Look, there was
For
another
somebody else. It ain't just about us.
There was another wrestler, and I won't mention any names, but everybody knows Scott Diamond. They know about Jake, and I don't play around. If I have to have Jake, I will use Jake. And this one wrestler and myself, we had a big difference. But after we had our difference, because of the business, look, I said, yeah, you know what? The promoter wanted me to work with him. I said, I don't like him. He don't like me. I had to take Jake, and we had a almost meeting with the Lord. But for business, I'll do whatever is best for business. And although he didn't like me and I didn't like him, we put our personals aside, and that's what professionalism is all about. We put our personals aside, and he and I together went out and beat Larry D for the UWF championship.
Exactly. Key word. Professional. That's what professional wrestling is. To be professional.
You have to be professional. I don't have to like you, but I can be professional. And if we have a common goal, then, I'll do that. And everybody knows that if you carry a championship, you make more money. And I've always been about wrestling as much as I love it. It's a business.
Exactly.
So I'm out there to make money.
Get your name out there, make your money. Seems like you've had a lot of fun in your day. You ever had to pull?
Look, we
Jake
could
out
sit
in the
here
ring?
2 or 3 shows, 5 hours apiece, and I still wouldn't have all the stories out. I've had a lot of great stories, a lot of great times. You know, I've been stabbed in the ring and stuff like that, so I've had some rough times.
You ever had to pull Jake out in the ring?
Leon, if I could answer your question without answering your question, Scott Diamond's been known to get fired up.
Yes. Somebody say something about getting fired up.
Also, riots have been incited.
Twice.
As a good heel, that boosts your ego a lot, don't it? You go home like, fuck yeah, we had them in the palm of our hands.
In the
tonight.
palm of our hand.
We got 9 guys out front with a buck knife.
Yeah. You know, that happened one time all down in the sticks in Harlan. In Harlan. We was down at the Armory. And so this guy and this girl, they come over the barricade on me, which I don't give a shit.
Yeah, right.
You know, bring it. And so...
They still ain't got the memo about kayfabe down there. You know
That makes the
Look,
show a little bit better.
They're
Yes,
hook,
it
line, and
does.
sinker. Let me tell you, they will fight in a heartbeat. And, you know, I've created 7 riots in my day. All of them, the first punch was thrown by a woman. Every one of them.
Women start most fights.
And, yes, they do. And so at the end of the evening, the security came to me and said, look, you know, that guy and that girl, well, now it's a guy, a girl, and they got 8 buddies out there with them. And he said they got a Bowie knife about this long. I pulled my jacket back, and there's that big 44 Magnum on my hip. You know, Jake was on my hip. And I said, look, you go out there and tell them don't bring a knife to a gunfight. Let me tell you, I had no trouble that night. No trouble whatsoever. They thought they were going to jump me in the parking lot. They did not jump me, let me tell you.
Stupid some bitches waiting at the front door.
Yeah.
Just
And
drive past them, honk, honk.
Yeah. Down there, we used to work in an armory, and so they've got a cage in the back that they kept their Hummers and things like that in. And so I always parked my Lincoln in that cage so nobody could get to my car because they was always trying to bust out my windows and stuff. And so when he came and told me they was waiting at the front door, I showed him that pistol and said, all they got to do is step up, and I'll have them leaking all over the parking lot. And so when we left, I just tooted the horn on the Lincoln, you know, and just waved at him. It's like...
I feel like that's also something that's missing from wrestling. Is back in the day, there would always be an old woman sitting ringside. You don't see that anymore. That was one of the fundamental parts of wrestling.
Yes, it
an
was.
old
They are the
grandma
batteries.
chilling- Yeah.
They really are. You hit on a
Dude.
good thing right there because the older women, and that's the way that we used to tell how good our stories were.
Shit
By how
stories.
many people, how many women were in the audience.
Yeah.
You know, if you look, and I'm not taking anything away from AEW, you know, they're on a higher level than I am. But if you look out there, only about 1 or 2% of their crowd is women.
Yeah.
It's not even older
Right.
demographics. It's not kids. It's just guys with fucking neck beards, and they're
Yep,
probably
basic
fucking,
Yeah.
thrillers.
their wife looks like me.
Guys that wrestle the shower head
Got a
and
thicker
you know,
mustache than you. That's
you know-
what's messed up.
most of their audience is guys that
Terrible.
wrestle the shower head in the shower, you know?
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's just
I
like...
did that once.
But that's
Sean said he did that once and lost.
I
He
did.
lost.
I lost. Yeah. I got
You
he
know?
loses to the bar of soap every single time he takes a shower.
But you know, in Southern
Sean will take
Indiana,
that.
we had Miss Debbie. APW,
remember
we
Miss
had
Debbie.
Miss Delphia.
Yep.
I mean, Sean might remember her. You guys
Miss
are a little
Delphia.
young to there. But I mean, you had that one woman that would stir the shit.
Leon,
And there's Miss
I had an
Nancy
old
goes
lady
around.
who was
Miss
legitimately
Nancy?
probably 80, 90 years old in southern Indiana who I genuinely thought was going to try and kill me. Follow me here. A couple months go by and she follows us to Salina, Tennessee,
Yeah.
where I again think she is going to
She's
attempt
gonna
to
fucking-
kill
she's
me.
gonna Jake the Snake your ass, man.
Brother, I'm scared for my life, and she's about 100
Asshole
years
appetite.
old and less than 100 pounds,
And this was
okay?
June 5th.
Yeah, she was there on the June 5th
Yeah.
show.
Oh,
That's right.
man.
Me and Johnny went to Kroger before this, and we got some L8 and some water. And there's these two old women was catcalling Johnny when we started. Woo, Johnny!
Now,
Look
what
at
can I
that!
say? The ladies dig the coat.
They're like, we like that coat.
Uh-huh.
Come back here, young man.
They ain't got enough around to get some
Johnny
old
drags.
cougars.
Johnny
They
drags
did.
out the old
Hit those
women.
cougars, Johnny.
They
Hit
was
those-
wanting.
That's
They
right.
was wanting them some Johnny.
There's no substitute for experience, and they've had more salami than you can count.
That's right.
You know?
God.
And you changed my mind on the whole Invincible Man deal.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
you know,
talked
we
about
talked
that on
about
the
that as
phone.
well. And it's the same way as when I lost to the mop that night.
Yeah.
Most people, they don't want to do stuff like that.
I know,
And I'm
right?
telling you, if it's done correctly and the psychology is there, It is. Look, I still got people calling me housewife, and this happened 13, 14 years ago. It's all about in the delivery. It's all about using the psychology and making it stick and making it make sense. And the Invisible Man was the same thing. Is there people that go out there and screw the whole damn thing
like
up?
having Santa or the Ninja Turtle there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, there's a guy running around now doing different canes.
Yeah.
You know, yellow cane. He's doing cocaine, blue cane.
Yeah.
He's doing all these canes.
Gain.
Gain.
Yep.
It's game.
And I mean, it's over. It's over.
That was true.
Because the people can get with it.
Right.
And that's the main thing. You know, you got to let the people get with it. If the people get with it, I don't care if it's losing to a mop, wrestling the Invisible Man, whatever it is. If the people can get with it, that's what you want.
If it's done right, it can get over like a rover.
Yes, you can. You know, and again, it's knowing how to tell the story and bringing the psychology to where the people can grasp it. And if the people can grasp it, and I'm telling you, Tommy Chong made hundreds, thousands of dollars wrestling the Invisible Man
Right.
Exactly.
because of the delivery. You know, and
Or Andy Kaufman wrestling women.
Yes, I was about to say that.
Look,
you and me was on the
Andy
same
Kaufman
wavelength.
wrestling women. Yes,
That was WWF before. That was 3 years before Vince went global. That was
yes. And I'm telling you, they went on David Letterman, and you couldn't tell me that it wasn't real.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
it looks so real. It looks so
Because
They're
real.
still playing clips of that, and it's 30 years ago.
It's the way they
A little
did
more
it
than
too.
30 now, Cowboy.
Is it 40 years ago?
It's
I
gotta
mean,
they
be
had a guy
40.
in
Yeah.
Because think about it. Andy Kaufman, he gets start wrestling women. When they're on the show, they're asking him, "What was it like going up against Jerry Lawler, who's not a woman?" He's like, "What? What do you mean? He's not a woman. This is unfair. This is unjust. I was wrestling perfectly within my weight limit against them, and this man is not even their size."
And they said he wore the neck brace for months after.
months, and he was
Oh, he was showing character.
probably the first intergender champion.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not
There's
talked
no
about
probably.
a lot. But they're still showing clips of him and Lawler on Letterman.
And he wore that
People
neck
still
bracelet
think
there too.
it's
It was
made up,
ingenious.
And Lawler's even come out and said, "Hey,
They had a guy in here a couple months ago who does food reviews in Louisville around Lexington and stuff, and he was asking them. He's like, "Was that real? Was that because he thought it was real?"
Yeah.
And
4 years
that's the
after the
perfect.
fact.
That was great delivery. It was great psychology. It was great. I mean, here it is again, 30, 40 years ago, and we're still talking about it, and they're still showing
Exactly.
clips of it.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
that's
when they
sad.
talk about things that happen on late night TV, it's always on there.
Yeah.
Always.
Exactly.
You know, if they show 10 clips of stuff that happened on late night TV, Andy Kaufman, Jerry Lawler throwing the coffee
Number
is
one.
always on there.
Memphis Wrestling
It's
made
always-
the national news. It was everywhere.
It was
Exactly.
everywhere.
And that slap that Jerry Lawler gave to him was chef's
Oh,
kiss.
Lord.
And they improvised all that too.
Good thing he didn't have dentures because they'd have been in another county.
Yep. Because Jerry Lawler got up,
Lawler thought, oh
And
God, I'm going to
slapped
jail."
his ass out of that chair.
Yeah. Yeah, and David Letterman shit himself, you know.
Yeah,
He's like,
David
"Oh."
Letterman went
'Cause every
completely
time
silent.
Lawler-
Like,
I can
Slap
tell
his
he
ass,
knew.
slap the
No,
table.
David Letterman said,
They
I see the
improvised all
lawsuits coming.
Yeah, he didn't.
and
he didn't know.
When they came back from break, you see Ed Copy's pacing back and forth. He's
Then he
wanting
starts
to say
cutting.
something. Then he finally comes back up and he starts
Oh,
cussing
they was
and banging on
bleeping every other word, you
From what
know?
I heard, the story went that Letterman wanted them to come on there, and they wanted to be kumbaya, and they were gonna get on there and hug and sing. And Lawler and Kaufman was like, "Fuck that. We're doing it our way. We're gonna build some
That's
fucking
true
build some
professional.
The
money."
old true way, baby.
professional.
Well, that's
know-
that's hands down to both of them. Clap to both of those guys for knowing hey, we got this opportunity
This platform.
to put over wrestling. Let's do this. And they did. They took that
They
opportunity.
made a lifetime moment.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, you gotta. That's very clutch. Like when you're
Which really, you know,
like,
Jerry Lawler's been involved with a lot of lifetime moments. Look at the concession stand
Yeah.
match.
Oh yeah, the
It was unheard of.
Yeah.
It was unheard of.
Invented hardcore
Exactly.
wrestling.
Yeah.
They could have easily dropped the ball on that.
Well,
And, you know, Andy Kaufman, he loved professional wrestling because his comedy style was just like it. He liked keeping kayfabe.
He was a talented young man, without a
And
doubt.
what's crazy is Andy Kaufman never cashed the checks he got from Memphis.
and
About 8 months or so after he died.
Because he was a mark.
Right.
He loved wrestling so much.
Kaufman's
That's right.
girlfriend found the checks.
on tap.
stack of checks, maybe about an inch thick, maybe or so.
And you get one of those to put up on the wall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
frame it.
If only, dude.
Maybe we can find a picture of one
And
of them.
they call
Yeah,
you
that'd be
never
a
cashed
grail,
for
dude.
one.
Well,
A
And
relic.
there's worth pretty significant money back in
Oh yeah, back in
1980.
those days.
They
You know?
said, they said that Kaufman went to Vince Sr. and wanted to do it with the WWF because he's a big New York guy. He's from New York.
Right.
Yep.
And Vince Sr. said, "Oh, that's too hokey. We don't want to get involved with that."
Lost
And
cause right
It was
there.
like 3 or 4 years
Lost a
before
lot of
Vince
money.
went global, and they said that Jim Cornette said on the podcast, he said that Vince McMahon, the Jr., he said that he was butthurt about that, probably still to this day, that he didn't get that opportunity.
Vince
to do
Jr.
that.
would have done that.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
He
But
sure
you know-
would have.
He broke a lot of cardinal rules that his dad swore by.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know, his dad was on the board for the NWA for many years. And then they had a discussion about Bruno Sammartino and Buddy Rogers being the champion. And when they didn't want to give it to Bruno, then that's when he peeled off and made WWWF, you know, Worldwide Wrestling Federation. And so Vince Sr. was so old school, he just didn't believe in that. But Vince Jr. was such a cutting edge kind of guy,
Yeah.
he'd have been all over that.
Oh yeah, for sure. How the world of wrestling would be changed if Gorilla Monsoon was sold WWF instead of Vince Jr.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, a lot of
Monsoon was
people-
supposed to buy it instead of
Yeah.
Vince Jr.
A lot of people have said that if Vince Sr. would have known what Vince Jr. was going to do,
He'd have never sold it.
he wouldn't have even thought about it.
Number one cardinal rule that he broke right off the bat, him and the Briscoes. Jack and Jerry, not the young Briscoes.
Right.
They were working for the NWA out of the Jim Crockett promotion,
Georgia Championship Wrestling.
Mid-Atlantic at the
Yeah,
time.
that
Yep.
too.
And he went behind the back, and you didn't do this in the territorial days. You know, they shared talent. Vern Gagnon shared talent with the Grahams in Florida and the Crockett's and things like that. But you didn't talk to talent that was already under contract to another company without talking to the promoter as well. Vince came in behind the promoter's back, offered Jack and Jerry, which they had a repair shop in the Carolinas. They were making okay money, but not enough money just to stop working.
Yeah.
They kept their shop open and stuff. Vince came in, offered them more money than they ever seen. They broke the cardinal rule. First ones to ever break the cardinal rule.
Yep.
Without talking to the promoter, they jumped ship and went to New York with Vince Jr. That's something his dad never would have stood for.
Nope.
Never would have stood
Exactly. Because Vince Sr.,
Black Friday.
when Vince Sr.
Yeah.
did sell it to him,
Black
he told him,
Saturday.
I don't want you to do anything like that. I don't want the company to do what you wanted to do. He wanted the company to stay exactly how it was.
for. But as bittersweet as it is, Vince Jr., had he not done that, we would still be having the territory days. It would not be a worldwide event.
Oh, it's bigger
Vince-
than Disney. It's bigger than the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Wrestling is
Vince
huge.
changed wrestling for all times.
He did.
Changed wrestling for all times.
Exactly.
WrestleMania wouldn't be what it is.
Man,
No, because Vince Sr. would have never brought in, Aretha
Liberace,
Franklin and stuff like
Aretha
that.
Franklin.
the Rockettes,
Mr.
Yeah.
T.
The Rockettes.
Ali.
Billy Robinson.
Well, they had done some work with Ali. Gorilla Monsoon and Ali had done some stuff already.
Yep.
Got you.
But he would have never brought in the entertainers. And, the boxing wrestling thing had been done once
He
or
would have brought
twice.
him in, but never to wrestle.
He would have never put them in a ring,
Exactly.
And Vince just had that vision. And, whether like it or not, there's some things I like about it, some things I don't. He changed the face of wrestling forever
Definitely.
in doing that.
And it helped to propel wrestling into something bigger than what it
Where's
was.
Pac?
Yeah, it made it a multi-billion-dollar business.
Yep.
It really did.
And the only thing that I hate about that you got a company like AEW who doesn't want to invest in storytelling. Like if they just invested in ring psychology and stop using blood all the time,
It's
They
got to
might
mean
have a
something.
chance.
It's got to mean something.
exactly.
It definitely hurts the other company too, because I know that Kevin Owens has been trying to get the pile driver over, and whenever you watch this, a fucking pile driver is just a transition move. That's just a move that they fucking hit just because hit me with the pile driver.
Yeah.
So when I watch it on the other show, it's like I
It
could care
means
less because
Yeah.
on this show I see it 25 times.
Look,
Yeah.
and way back in the day, it was legitimately outlawed because guys, Stone Cold, Owen broke his neck with that.
Yep.
Guys were
Yeah.
legitimately taking
Pile
broken
driver.
necks via the pile driver. So they just banned it from all of wrestling back in the day.
And the irony was that Stone Cold Steve Austin got his neck broken years before that in the same move.
He
Yeah.
broke somebody else's name.
Yep.
Well, they don't
Austin
take
Hero
certain
Challenge.
moves and be like, hey, that's my
Call it
that's
Shawn,
my
nobody else is gonna
finisher.
call it.
I don't even really know that they even have. Do they even have finishers anymore in AEW? Like it just, like they're just having all these big spots all the time, and they're using like every move. And then the next match, they use the same moves, and then the next match after that, they'll use the same moves. It's just like, hey, talk to each other and say, hey. And why do they have rainbows on their freaking? We're watching this right
They're
now.
like the,
they have
it's a
It's
rainbows
a
on
nod
the,
to the 80s with the
Yeah.
Midnight Express gimmick
Yeah.
and whatnot.
But didn't Finn Balor already do that?
No.
That's kind of a separate thing. That was for the
That was
LGBT gimmick.
That's
Ah.
yeah. I think their outfits look like
There's
crap.
people still. Yeah, well, they were.
I could give a fuck less about. I'm
Ready,
not calling
FTR.
Adam Cole when Edge, like, fuck him. Like I could give
The
a
worst
fuck
thing
less
that
about
the
him.
worst
He
thing
killed his
with
legacy
you.
when he went there.
if I had ever gave Tony Khan any advice is to never hire a WWE superstar ever.
Yeah.
Like they don't need them. They got plenty of stars. Don't hire the guy from WWE.
like
Don't
that.
hire Edge. I mean,
just
CM
gonna
Punk was
fuck 'em
great to hire
anyways.
because he was off forever. But
But then you got the elite that didn't like
But you look at the original TNA cast. You know, Wildcat Chris Harris, good friend of mine.
yeah,
Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Jay Lethal, you know, James
Christopher
Storm,
Daniels.
Bobby Roode. They were people that most big companies did not want to talk to.
yeah,
And they put TNA on the map.
they did.
Sure did.
It
And
was
that's
such-
why the AEW can do the same thing with their own guys, but then they bring in these WWE guys and put them right in the main events, and it's like,
But TNA kind of knew how to do both at the same time. Like you would have, like Heavy said, James Storm and Bobby Roode, but then you'd have them up against the Dudleys. Like they knew how to kind of intermingle with the legends
Yeah.
and the newer
For
wrestlers.
for a moment until they brought in Hogan and
yeah.
Hogan started bringing in
The
all his
main
buddies.
event
Yeah.
mafia.
Fucking Mick
Yeah, the
Foley
Bubba the
showed up,
Love
I was-
Sponge and all this shit. Because they shit on the little guy.
Yeah.
When Eric Bischoff came down there, Hogan brought Eric Bischoff down there. Worst thing Ric Flair ever did was introduce Hulk Hogan to Eric Bischoff. Worst
Yep.
thing that he ever did.
Yep.
Because Eric and bringing Hogan in, they killed WCW. They went down there and they killed TNA.
Yep.
Look, you can't shit on these young guys, especially there at TNA. Like I said, the TNA originals, because here's guys that were kind of AAA, if you were,
yeah,
that was bringing TNA, making them a force to be reckoned with.
They're the reason why AJ Styles left TNA because he's growing
They couldn't
disillusioned
afford
with
nothing. They
everything.
couldn't afford to keep
a
anybody.
legend. AJ Styles is one of the guys that changed. Like when he changed wrestling the way he wrestled. He changed wrestling.
Certainly.
That Pele is amazing.
Yeah,
Oh, it is.
God, yeah.
he's an innovator in wrestling. Like a lot of the wrestlers now wrestle like AJ Styles did.
As
Yeah.
a kid, TNA was so much better than WWE was.
Yeah, at the beginning. I mean,
It was.
America's Most Wanted, James Storm and Wildcat Chris Harris, 7-time, 8-time NWA Tag Team Champions.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
like that.
You know?
Right.
And here are these two guys, man. They
So many first in TNA. They were the
Yeah.
first cage match.
First black
Yeah.
NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
Ron
and
True-
and this
Ron the True
again,
Killings.
this was a group of young men. The WWE and them didn't even look at a second time. Not until they had to look at them because TNA creeped up on them and they became a force to be reckoned with.
So you got
Exactly.
like out of all these guys right here, you got two guys, WWE guys, right in the ring now wrestling, and then you got two guys wrestling WWE guys standing over there on the apron.
And then
Right.
you got the lead guy on the outside in John Moxley.
John
again,
Moxley
if
was a
you can-
WWE guy.
If you can integrate them together, great. But for these guys to come in and shit on the younger guys, I mean that's not good.
Exactly, because it's like Hogan and Eric Bischoff when they took over in 2010. They said, "Hey, get rid of the 6-side ring. We're going to make it 4-side ring, and then we're going to make it go up against Monday Night Raw.
Yeah,
a second
and-
Monday
yeah,
Night
that's
Raw."
what
And,
killed
and
that.
Bischoff was trying to
didn't
fire,
have a
you know, they was trying to fire the young guys.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you want to fire these guys
Bringing in
when
a bunch of Hogan's friends.
Yep.
Look,
The fucking
Yeah.
Nasty Boys.
Yeah, the Nasty Boys in
Great
2010.
team, but by
Were
that
they?
point,
yeah, Brian
They
and
were
Jerry,
both-
I mean,
Brian and Jerry were on canes
Yeah, they were half
when they were
crippled
not
at that.
in the ring.
You
The
know,
greatest thing that came of that era of
Oh,
TNA
Christmas.
is when Mick Foley punched out Bubba the Love Sponge.
That was the greatest
I
moment.
love
No.
that clip.
Bubba the
No,
Love Sponge
yeah,
should have
Bubba
never
on
been anywhere
TV.
close to a ring.
Awesome Kong behind the scenes. She
Oh.
knocked his ass out.
Oh, that's hilarious. I didn't know that.
He
That's
should have
even
never
more
been
better.
anywhere around a wrestling ring. He was a
No,
radio
the only-
personality.
And he was there because he was Hogan's best buddy.
Yep.
Man.
Kind of like
Which
a
we found out
BK.
he was
They was
kind of
fucking
in it
hoes
for the
together.
money, not just for
They were
No,
be his friend.
no,
They were running
they were getting
trains on
off
hoes.
each other.
They was
What's
doing
up,
the,
John Gilbert?
they was doing the
What's up,
monkey
Big
knuckle,
John?
wasn't they?
Big John Gilbert.
But yeah, if you think about it, Hogan always brought the Bruce Beefcake with him as well.
But
That's
he didn't
the only
bring- him
time.
and Beefcake aren't friends
The
anymore.
disciple. Let's call him the disciple.
Gilbert said Johnny Lee
Disciple.
Let's call him the barber. Brutus the barber.
Yeah, he
or the
changed
Bully
his-
Man because he is Hulk Hogan's
We,
Bully
we
Man.
still need to get Marty
weak
Jannetty
hair.
on here.
Huh?
We need to get Marty Jannetty in here.
Oh, I'd love
Yes,
that.
we do
we need
too.
to get Marty
Man, we
Jannetty
need to get
in
him on here just
Hey.
so we can hear the stories.
If you think you've got a great love life, just if you haven't struggle trying to find loving, I'll get this words out sooner or later.
Take
just
your time.
remember, somebody married Marty Jannetty.
We need to have like a hoe train up in here with Marty Jannetty. We need
And
to
Marty's
do
had a
all
bunch
the-
of hoes.
like a dating show with Marty Jannetty.
There, he got married and then she wanted to get divorced a month later. I'm like, damn,
And
man.
now there's a Facebook called The Genettis with him and his newest woman.
Leon, is the fellow youth in this room, have you seen the YouTube clips where it's like one guy versus 20 women, 30 women, whatever it is, and they line them up almost like the dating game, but like modernized, pass-fail kind of gimmick? Yes,
no,
no?
I haven't seen that.
Okay. It's super
I
straightforward.
thought you were talking about like the outlaw UFC fights where it's like two
Good
women
guy.
against one guy.
We'll talk about that later, actually. Somebody cue that up. But
That
No,
sounds like
man.
one of my weekends.
I would love to see Marty Jannetty versus a lineup of 30 women, and not in a courtroom like they used to do it. Maybe a studio would work fine, but
Yeah, we need
Yeah.
we need Marty Jannetty up in here.
We definitely do because I want to hear some of the crazy ass stories that he's got.
I'll tell you, some of the road stories are the best part about wrestling. Really is. I mean, we have a great time. In
definitely
the ring.
not the food.
It's not the food. We have a great time at the arenas without a doubt. But there's something to be said for the road stories because they're unbelievable sometimes. And there's nothing like them. And they're lifelong memories, just like getting to work great people in the ring.
Kind of like with me and Mark Clay. Like that's a road story that I remember because me, Mark Clay, and Apartment Camp driving all the way to TCW. Me and Mark Clay's just talking to ourselves. Next thing you know, freaking Cam pipes up. I'll base Turk Tucker. And we're like, you're based what? He
You all
said,
should have
"I'll
pulled
base
over
Turk
it."
Turkey.
You should have pulled over to the gas station, told him to go in and use the bathroom, and drove off.
Yes. Because it was a crazy
That would
story.
have probably been the best decision for Kentucky wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said-
Go ahead, brother.
Well, you've said you've had crazy experiences on the road. I'm gonna hit you with something different. You've been inside these old buildings. You've been on the road, probably going to sleep at a wheel. I'm real big into
Oh, yeah.
ghost stories. You got any road ghost stories or inside of any of these
Ooh, that's a
old
good
building ghost stories? Like where like you looked over your shoulder, you got a guy standing beside you. You look over, he's not there anymore. Something like that.
I've got a big time, and I'm telling you, I can't explain this. I believe this with all my being. Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, did a lot of shows over there. There was a guy filming a TV program, so we went over and did a pilot in the old Lawrenceburg Hotel. It's supposed to be haunted.
Yep.
It's supposed to be one of the most haunted places in Lawrenceburg. I went over there, and we were doing reenactments. I did a reenactment of, and it's like when we went up in there, it's as if we would just get up and leave this table right now and leave everything where it is. That's exactly how it was. I mean, this guy hung himself. This is the part that I reenacted. This guy hung himself in the closet. The aperture was still there when he put the rope through and hung himself. The rope wasn't there. When they cut him down, they cut the rope down and took him down or whatever. He was sitting on the end of the bed. It was a single bed. He was sitting on the end of the bed. There was a crumpled up cigarette pack where he sat there and smoked a pack of cigarettes. And there was a fifth or a liter, whatever it was, whiskey bottle that was empty that was kind of laid over. next to this pack of cigarettes on the floor next to this bed. It was all still right there as if he just left 10 minutes earlier. I got into the closet. You know, they put another rope around the aperture, and I put the rope around my neck, and we filmed this and all this kind of stuff. And I'm telling you, when I walked out of that room, we had to go over. When you go up the stairs, there's a hallway to the left and a hallway to the right. The man that had hung himself was in the hallway to the left, whereas I did my reenactment. After we'd done that, there was a young lady who had slit her wrist, took some drugs, slit her wrist, and bled out right there. And that was in the hallway to the right. So after we filmed my scene, we went over into this hallway to where this girl had done that. And they were still where she was writing Bible verses and things on notebook paper. There was 3 notebook pieces of paper where she had written all these Bible verses. These 3 papers were taped to the wall. Excuse me, at where her headboard was. It was taped to the wall. The bed was still, it was just as red as that strap right there where she had bled out. They came, took her, left the mattress, all the blood, the sheets of paper where she'd been writing Bible verses. They left all that.
Yep.
When we went over to do that, we taped the scene, and when we turned around to leave, because I was in the hallway while they taped her piece, the girl came out of the hallway, and we started walking down the hallway, and I'm telling you, sir, as I can see Andy and Johnny and Sean and yourself right now in Austin, I seen this woman looking at us out of that room. I'll show you another one. The same night, I went home and we had this big picture window at our house. It was probably 8 foot by 8 foot, something like that. Big old picture glass window. This glass, just one big piece of glass, not 2 or 3 windows. One window was about 8 foot by 8 foot. This is the gospel. The next morning after I had we shot for about 2 days. The first day I seen the woman. I went home that night, got up the next morning, and there was 200 or 300 flies at the base of this picture window in my front room. And I'm not talking house flies. These flies, if you guys ever seen horse flies, they're huge.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, there was 200 or 300 of these flies at the base of the ledge of this window. And I thought, where the hell did those come from? So, you know, my wife gets the vacuum cleaner. She sucks them all up and stuff. We went and taped the second day. As we were leaving, we come down the stairwell because the 2 hallways came into like a little room where they had this lady would, I guess, was take the payment and things like that.
Yeah.
And so they would come into like a Y, and then you would come down the stairwell. Everybody had to come down the same stairwell. We came down this stairwell, and we get to the street, and we're standing there talking about the second day's filming and how we'd wrapped up, because we did it all in about 2 days. And somebody said something about, is everybody here? And, you know, of course, we look around, it's like, oh, yeah, we're all here. And he said, well, who's that in the window?
Oh, wow.
I swear to goodness, as sure as I'm sitting here and I'm seeing you guys, we seen a woman looking out this window at us. We just all thought, you know, damn, we didn't have nothing to drink. Maybe it's our eyes playing tricks on us or whatever. But, I mean, I wasn't the only one that seen it. Talk to Jeff Waldridge. He was there. We all seen this woman in the window. I went home that night. We went to bed. And remember, that morning when we got up before I went to film,
With the flies.
my wife vacuumed up all these flies. The next morning we got up, 200 or 300 more flies, all dead, at the base of this window. My wife said to me, look, you brought home some bad juju. And I said, you know, I'm starting to believe that because I seen this woman twice. The second time we all seen it. This was the second day in a row that we had these 200, 300. I mean, these flies were so big you could throw a saddle on them and ride them. 3 days in a row, we woke up to these flies being at the base of this window. After we had filmed it, he hadn't edited it yet. I was watching over some of the film with my wife. And for whatever reason, you know, stuff that makes the cutting room floor, they video a lot of stuff, and it's just like if they were videoing us right now and we walked out, they didn't cut the cameras. So we had guys and girls walking in and out and things like that, getting water or whatever. We're watching this footage, and my wife says, "What did you do in the hallway? I thought everything was in this room where this man hung himself." And I said, "All my stuff was." She said, "Well, I'm looking at this piece right now, and it's you coming down the hallway, and you look dead." I said, "I didn't do nothing in the hallway." So I looked at it, and I'm telling you, my eyes were so hollow looking. Literally, I said the same thing. I said, "My God, I don't know why they would be taping me," which I don't think they were taping me.
Yeah.
They just left the film running, while we were doing things. But when we seen that piece of me coming down the hallway, I literally looked like the Walking Dead. And 3 days in a row, we woke up to these flies only in that one spot, right in that window. And so when I talked to some people, they were saying this is supposedly this evil entity trying to come through that glass. And of course, you can't go through glass. They used mirrors as portals, people that do that type of work, they tell me. And so this was the evil trying to come through the glass, but they weren't able to come through that glass. So when those flies showed up, what it is them trying to come through, they died right there. All these evil entities that were trying to come through via these flies, they couldn't come through the glass, so they all just died right there at the glass. And so I said, well, I'm not doing any more filming with those guys in that building.
Wow, yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm telling you, it was so real, Leon. It was so real. And, some people say, yeah, I believe in ghosts. Some people say, no, I don't believe in ghosts.
I believe you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm saying this. It was so real to me that I can neither confirm nor deny, but I know what I seen, and I wasn't the only one that seen it. So I know there was something there, but I can't explain what.
Yeah.
That's the best ghost story that I ever come
Well,
across.
that itched the scratch. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Bobby Blaze
Look,
said,
man,
"What's up,
talking about
fellas?"
chills, man.
Yeah, I had it a couple
because I
months
can
ago.
still see this lady in the window, and I'm like, whew. I'm
I
starting
know.
to-
I feel like that too because that's real shit. You can't explain a ghost that appears before your eyes.
Looking again, the flies. I wasn't the only one. All my children were at home. They seen it. My wife seen it. So it wasn't something that was just in my head or something that was just playing on me. It was real. And so how do you explain that? I can't.
You can't because things like that, the paranormal is out of your hands. Like you can't explain it.
It's amazing. You say Bobby Blades out there?
Yep, he said, "What's up, fellas?"
Hey, Bobby.
We have been on here 2 hours already, guys. At this point, we probably need to end the show. I want everybody to say their goodbyes and share anything that they need to share. Sean, go first.
It's always me. Like to think.
Set the pace, Sean.
All right, guys. All right. Scott, Austin, gentlemen, always a pleasure. Y'all get to see me. Oh, wait, it's the other way around. It's always my pleasure to see you.
The pleasure is
You-
all yours.
Yes. Leon Lexington, always good to have you here, brother. Wow, thanks for cutting me off, Johnny. Thanks, buddy.
Stop
1,000
talking into the
stars.
mic. It's fine.
Seen it.
Andy, and, well, that's about it. And then,
You fired again?
Yeah, leave that shirt here when you leave.
yeah, no. Guys, thanks for everything. Everybody in the comment, everybody watching, thanks for everything. Stay nice.
Leon, you go next.
It was definitely a treat to come in here and listen to Austin and Scott talk their shit, get you acquainted with how the business on their end goes. It was definitely a treat. It was definitely a pleasure. I need to get up in here more time. It's definitely a fun thing to do. It's hard to do it with 2 kids, but I need to manage it. I definitely want to change some things in 2025. Definitely want to, by the end of the next year, I want to be not a totally different person, but just be better in on mental health and just who I am as a person, get some goals done. So that's all I want to say. Happy New Year to everybody. Hope everybody had a Merry Christmas.
Awesome. Johnny, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Austin and Scott Diamond. Hey, I'll just do my best
Yo,
Terry
man.
Funk promo.
And
Come on.
Leon said, when you go, keep going.
Yo, man's voice is changing already.
That's right. But, I just want to thank you, Scott, and Austin Diamond for giving us a moment of your time again. nice stories that we've heard tonight, plus the ghost story, because I believe in ghosts. And also, to everyone that's been commenting and watching us tonight, thank y'all very much, because we can't do this without you. And stay nice.
Austin.
Bobby, I won't ignore you like everybody else. Hey, how's it going? Good to hear from you. I look forward to seeing you again on Friday. Despite that, overlooking that, let's see here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my time. I'm God's greatest gift to women, the guru of greatness, shaman of superiority. I got a few more, but most importantly, I'm the Doomsday Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. I am the best-looking diamond in the family. Much love to everybody, except for Sean Johns. Pops, take it over.
I want to thank you guys. Anytime that you give us a platform, I'm very appreciative. I want to thank all of you guys, Sean, Johnny, Andy, and Leon. It's great to finally get you into the studio with us. You and I talk now and again, and I'm glad we had the opportunity to sit down in the same room and talk. You always come up with some great questions. You got a great mind for this, and I really enjoy it. It's really refreshing, the inquisitive nature that you bring, because you always, man, you come with questions that, like, where did that come from? Because nobody thinks about a lot of the questions that you come up with. A lot of the questions that we get asked are repetitive. With you, it's never repetitive, man. So it was really great having you in the studio. I thank you three guys again for giving us the opportunity. For everyone that's been watching, everyone that has chimed in, thank you always for all these years of support. 2025 will be Scott Diamond's last year. I want to thank everybody that ever bought a ticket to see Scott Diamond. I want to thank everybody for always supporting me, whether I was a good guy, bad guy. I love the fact that you come and you was involved. You cheered me, you booed me, but whatever you did, I appreciate the support over all these years. It's becoming an end of an era, because this Friday night, January the 3rd, at the Coolidge Building in Nicholasville, Kentucky on Maple Street, we will have the 15th and last Scott Diamond birthday bash. Come on out, have a good time. The champagne's going to be flowing. It's going to be a great event. All matches are going to be main event matches. We have the NWA World Television Championship on the line. Excuse me. We have the Elite Wrestling Alliance Heritage Championship on the line. Austin Diamond is making his debut. He's tagging with Adrian Alexander, going up against one of the greatest tag teams in independent wrestling of all time, HNIC, Apollo Showtime Garvin, and JB Thunder. So everybody come out this Friday night, because, again, you will be part of history, because this Friday night is going to be history. So come on out to the Scott Diamond Birthday Bash in Nicholasville, Kentucky at the Coolidge Building this Friday night. Have a good time, and then you'll be able to tell your grandkids, you know what, I was there when the 4-time Hall of Famer, excuse me, Scott Diamond had his last birthday bash. So thank you for the support. Awesome. Come out Friday night and be a part of history.
Scott, Austin, thank you guys for coming into the studio. Sean, Johnny, appreciate you guys for always standing by me with the show. Even when I can't be here, Johnny's always here to fill in for me, to host the show. Leon, thanks for coming. Love having you here. Like Scott said, you always bring something new to the podcast, and we'd love to have you here more. Guys out there, the fandom, thank you guys for supporting us for so long. We're going on 4 years with the podcast now. 26,000, over 26,000. We're really close to 27,000 followers on Facebook. We got a couple thousand on YouTube. Guys, thank you for your support. We appreciate you. Without you guys, we can't keep this thing going. We are monetized on Facebook, so go over. If you're a big fan of the Nice Guy Indie Podcast, like, share, comment everything that we post. Comment on the comments. Have discussions. Shout out to us. Message us. We will message you back. We will be doing things a little bit different this year. We did go live tonight on YouTube, but we probably won't be going live on YouTube anymore. We will be posting the show to YouTube maybe a day or two afterwards. You will only be able to find the live show on Facebook and Twitch, probably X too. YouTube is better algorithm if we post there. We do have all the shows. Oh, if you want to go back and watch one of the shows with Scott Diamond, Austin Diamond, we do have all the shows on Spotify. Maybe not all the shows are there, but all the shows are definitely on YouTube. Push the live button to see any of our shows over there if you want to go back and watch anything. We do appreciate everybody. And like I said, I couldn't do this show without Johnny Lee. Sean has always been here to support us. Next coming up year, Leon's going to be here more. And Scott, you said your management career and your in-ring wrestling career is going to end in 2025, but you are still going to be invited to come to the podcast, and we really enjoy that you'll have a place here to still enjoy wrestling. Like we mentioned Bobby Blade. Bobby Blade was not into wrestling, and then we invited him to the podcast, and now he's back active in wrestling again. So it's all love. Donnie Green, Al Steele, all those Steele guys,
of Donnie Green,
the other Green guys, all the Greens, Bobby Green, Tommy Green, all those guys are coming in here talking. We'll definitely have a bunch of those guys back in here. We do plan on still talking wrestling and maybe more ghost stories because they seem to be very popular too. But love all you guys out there, everybody. We have some really devoted fans and people. I go on the Facebook professional thing and look. There's just people that just watch us constantly. We have fans all around the world. Pakistan, India. We got 300 loyal fans in New York City. I don't know how, but we do.
Hell yeah.
And Chicago, they love us up there. They love us everywhere. So, guys, let's keep building. And if you're not having fun,
you're not getting none.
Damn, Skippy.
Yeet, yeet.
Nice Guy Andy Podcast.
I like straight shoes. Yeah. You always come up with the
Nice Guy Andy Podcast.
The question on psychology.
You guys go on your little rinky-dink bullshit podcast.
Very good.
Popping off at the mouth. I'm gonna be his daddy.
Who trained
What your mama said.
This is the Zodiac. I'm telling you now, meditate, elevate, and dominate.
It's so refreshing, man. when a guy
You
like
guys
you
go
comes
on
in
your
and
little
asks questions
rinky-dink
that
bullshit
you don't hear.
podcast.
You know that you don't hear, but they're very relevant because they help mold us as well, especially the psychology deal. You know what? Before I learned psychology, I would have been the same way. The Invisible Man